Hello, and this is Spotlight, recorded here live on GRAPPL Patreon. I'm Benno.
And I'm JP.
It feels like it's been a while, JP. Feels like we've been on break, an unofficial break over the last few days of so. Obviously, didn't have you on the last couple of Spotlights with Matty and Garrett. So, yeah, feels like a big old reunion show. We've got all the patrons in the chat as well. A good night for it, mate, here on this Monday evening.
It is a good night for us. Well, I mean, even though it's probably only been a week and a half since I've last been on a show with you, but this is what happens. It ends up making it feel like you've missed all of this time.
Week and a half in wrestling parlance is like 6 months, to be fair. Like, it is
might as well be fucking 1997, really, isn't it, at this point with it. But no, it was because we didn't do a weekend show. I instead went to the cinema instead to see a film that you need to see that I think you in particular would just love, and that's the One Battle After Another. I'll talk about it more on the pre-show that we do on Wednesday, but your pre-show, I should say. And that was cracking instead. So rather than us previewing Victory Road, I think I did all right out of that deal. But yeah, excited to talk about all the wacky happenings.
Not enjoying this. Chat giving us grief here for starting on time. Platt saying getting us train for on my time off. We'll see, folks. We'll see what happens. Definitely not my fault. I'm actually on time. I've been blowing people's minds this week. I put it on the Discord, JP, but like the other part of not doing a podcast for a few days, like genuinely, I think it was more like you've known behind the scenes half the reason we end up not doing one of those shows. I've been sorting some visa stuff out. So yeah, that's another thing for the pre-show. I'll talk about that behind the payroll. It is sorted now. Finally, I was in a queue of 60 odd people this morning at Chiang Mai. Immigration. Wouldn't recommend it for most people out there, but like because of that, I did early light last night, and if you combine that with the fact that I think my dad tried to ring me last night, and he couldn't understand why he couldn't get in touch with me at 2 a.m, such as my reputation for being up late at night. Apparently, he had a conversation with my brother, who then went, "You know what? I've looked at his podcast feed, and he hasn't done a podcast for a few days." And then combine that with my mum getting involved and noticing that I've not been putting many pictures of coffee or eggs or that type of thing on my Instagram. I felt like a search party was going to go off for me last night. Like purely, and I think it's as much the fact that I wasn't awake at 3 o'clock, but I think it's more the fact that the way in podcast there wasn't evidence of my existence in the world. I was half expecting fucking Thai police to knock the door down when I got up this morning and looked at my phone. I had like a message from my dad, message from my stepdad, message from my mum, message from my brother, all being like, "You all right? Is everything all right? Nothing's happened, has it?" I was like, "No, I just went to bed at 10 o'clock like a normal person." That's how unexpected that is for most, I think.
It's amazing. You have one early night, and all of a sudden you've turned into Thailand.
Like a podcasting, you know? It gave me a window to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and God bless you. Like, honestly, 10 o'clock for you. I just assume you'd have to be, like, seriously ill for that. And your parents assume you've turned into Thailand's Jay Slater. And you're just like, you're completely fucking
Especially
MIA.
they're not podcasting. That's probably the biggest worry, isn't it? My mum was like, "Give me the address of everywhere you're staying from now on, just in case." So now I'm just going to keep uploading, JP. It's fine. To be fair, they clearly didn't go on the YouTube because they didn't see my YouTube video that I did put up this week. Maybe they were scrolling the Patreon, they were looking around for it. Platt says here, 4 PLEs since JP's last spotlight. That can't be true. There's no way that's the case. Because I was thinking that we did obviously we did the AEW one with Joe, didn't we? And there was one after that as well, I'm pretty sure. But the PLEs have been coming through thick and fast.
There was those two. I mean, unless he's counting like New Japan and TNA as PLEs, and I fucking won't. I mean, Chris, you can, but I certainly won't be. 4 PLEs been missed. I've not been like.
I mean, there's been no PLEs as because they don't exist. It's like the ruthless aggression era, mate. It's just a Fed terminology that's been made up.
Oh, no mercy. I'm not counting that, mate. I'm not. Even though they get paid for them, I refuse to count it as that old no mercy as well. But it's just a ridiculous amount of stuff happening, though, and a lot of it relatively inconsequential. But lots of it, lots of kind of like nonsense being chucked into the mix. But yeah, I mean, but that visa story sounds like I can't imagine like. It's a barrel of laughs there. I imagine there's some quite frightening fuckers. Just
money
like
changed down
the security center.
But it's been it's sorted now. But it has been stressful trying to sort it out. I was partly thinking I was gonna have to do like a visa run and run to Laos or run to Cambodia or something like that. But it got sorted in the end, so it's not too bad there. But yeah,
never a good phrase. I have to run to Cambodia.
I would have enjoyed it. It would have been fun. There's half a war going on there at the border. It's kind of died down now. It would have been absolutely fine. Sophia saying Benno's back for another shift at the Content Factory. Didn't put that as my job when I filled my forms in. I made sure to leave that that off there as well. It was fine. Didn't get recognised. It was all good.
Oh, mate, honestly, like I'm just seeing Sophia's in the chat as well. Someone who did a stint in a Thai prison for visa.
You don't want that.
No. The only thing I saw in that was that story of that lad, ironically from Liverpool, who ended up learning kickboxing, and they made a film out of it, didn't they?
You saying this wasn't me? Okay, well, I don't think so.
I think he was starring. Was it Jack? Is either Jack O'Connell or Joe Cole? I can never tell them apart. I'm also like Joe Cole, the ex-West Ham and Chelsea player, either. Yeah, and there was that, and it didn't seem like a laugh being in a Thai prison.
Probably not.
Like the stuff of fucking nightmare.
Probably not as nice as my Airbnb, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, but you're all well though otherwise in the meantime, and pumped for tonight, I'd hope as well for the.
Like I say, well rested. Had a couple of hours sleep last night. And I tried to go to sleep early. It didn't quite work out for me. JP got up early, got my visa sorted today. I actually did go to the cinema myself as well. Again, we'll maybe talk some of that more on the pre-show. When you're up early, JP, it does work out for you. It was less than £2 for me to go see go to the cinema this week. I want one grapple after another. Maybe we could call the pre-show that coming up.
Oh, you saw it as well.
I have seen it. Yeah, I have seen it.
Oh, incredible! If you're up for discussing that on Wednesday, I mean the problem is
full review. There you go. That's it. There's your preview. 2
hours on this as well. I saw Matty's comment who said that Crewy went to see it, left the cinema, bought a ticket, and went to see it again straight after.
Yep.
And it's a 3-hour film, but doesn't feel like 3 hours. I imagine there was no fucker in there with you either as well.
There was a few. I did almost actually. I got to the point of trying to pay for my ticket. I almost bought a ticket for the Thai language version of it, not realizing that would have been a barrel of laughs to be sat there in the cinema trying to work out what was going on. In the end, I did end up landing on the English language version with Thai subtitles, which kind of worked out. Which was also my experience of Thai immigration. But again, more on that coming forward. Don Bell, no Mr. Immigration Officer. I'm a wrestling podcaster, not some dodgy bloke looking to buy a bride. Don't know what's higher up or lower on the total bill. Platt saying there he's done nothing but work on Punk this week. Yeah, that has also been part of my week this week. So yeah, while we've been off, we haven't quite been off. Obviously, I've got a bit of time coming up off in October. Obviously, JP. So we've got a little bit of a pre-recording going on behind the scenes and a couple of extra things with me and Hamflet have been doing as well. So fear not, rumours of my death have been grossly exaggerated. Just because I wasn't on the screen near you doesn't mean I wasn't podcasting. There has still been plenty of that stuff going on behind the scenes. But yeah, it's going to be plenty more of that going on this week as well, JP. We've got plenty to give out to the good people this week.
We have indeed. So what we have is we've got on Wednesday the final round of Dealer's Choice. CM Punk in AEW, and my God, it feels it's not Phil being brought to an end, but at the same time, it is it's a pivotal part. I know we'll all have some very strong thoughts about it. Watching that playlist has been honestly, it's been an experience because it's just like, Jesus, this simultaneously happened a very short time ago, but feels about 25 years as it does with that. So that's the final round of Dealer's Choice happening on Wednesday. So still fitting into the month of September as well. But we had Retro.
Technically October, but it all counts. We're on tight time.
It's fine for that. We got Retro out, which is just titled Giving as well, which is really cool episode they've done, which features a very sort of quite early Bret Hart it's relatively early in WWF match against Ricky Steamboat, but also his match against the 1-2-3 Kid as well. So yeah, brilliant piece of audio there as well for people to listen to as well. So yeah, and where do you get all this goodness? Well, you can get to patreon.com/grapple or youtube.com/@grapple for the low. Is it still the low price of 99p, which is obscene? I mean, fuck me, you don't get chocolate and you can't get a bag of crisps for that. Not even Bobby's crisps. Like that says a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it was a cracking episode of Retro as well. So definitely do check that out. That is on the 99p tier over on there, or the free tier on the Patreon, which you can do as well. We'll take all sign-ups, and as I mentioned earlier, we have been doing again. My mum needs to subscribe to the YouTube because she'll be able to see that I have been active this week, and you can see my quick thoughts on it on Dynamite I did last week. I'm probably going to follow that up at least for the next couple of weeks again. See how it goes. Trialing some stuff. I know Matty's got a little video idea in his head that he's planning on doing over the next couple of days as well. well. But yeah, obviously, if you want to, maybe our takes in it in more of a short form fashion than these shows, which I'm certain when you look at the runtime of this, I'm sure it's 2 hours or so. Usually it's usually 2 hours 20, no matter what we do, no matter what we say, it usually runs about that. But if you haven't got quite that much time, get a little bite-sized chunks of our takes over there as well. And yeah, we could genuinely do with all the subscribers we get. So please do head on over there.
Oh, absolutely. Those reaction videos, I think you've done an absolutely belting job for those. Love the ones that you did on Dynamite. And obviously, you did it for All Out and WrestlePalooza. I'm looking forward to loads of them as well. I mean, even on the news dump, I'd even try to sort of shorten that. Still 15 minutes.
And that AI travesty behind you. I saw that. Yeah.
Wow.
That is a thing.
I need to get off this AI thing. Like, I really do. When I made Gareth into Peter Sutcliffe, I think, and Purple Matty could only be.
Are we still lampooning AI, or do we just earnestly use AI now? Because I feel like that might be what it is.
I think I'm just using it at this stage, but I'm using it for completely fucking daft reasons. Why it turns you into Prince Harry, and it appears to me that me and you are sharing a horse, which has not been explained. But you've been given the AEW logo on your t-shirt. Matty's been given W, which I couldn't ask him to do. You know, it's like just fucking balls it up. I've been given the Rev Pro, and Gareth's got a Noah one on. Just to ignored the New Japan logo that I put into the mix. Just went, I'm not bothered.
Is AI getting its info from 2021 back when Gareth was a Noah guy?
It is.
Back when we used to do it to Brit Res. Great times.
It is. I'm surprised it's not him and not Takeshi Segura. He fucking loved that lad as well. Like, had him dressed up as Go Shiozaki, but. Yeah, I need to leave this AI thing alone. It's far too much.
It's going to take us over eventually. But yeah, more of that over on the YouTube. And like I say, the videos are up. So if you do want to... My takes on Dynamite, which obviously to get into what we need to talk about this week, JP, like obviously we'll do a bit of a catch-up on kind of what your thoughts have been over the last week is the Great War of 2025 this week with last week with All Out and WrestlePalooza. Love to get your thoughts on that. Again, I did one of those videos in Dynamite because I wasn't half planning on launching it last week. I didn't think I'd have strong thoughts on Dynamite. And I did. And to be honest, I got strong thoughts on Collision this week as well, which has kind of shocked me as well. And we've got plenty of other stuff to get into, WWE-wise, and obviously some stuff around Japan to catch up with as well. But let's start there. I don't know if your feelings are as strong. How were you feeling coming out of the old WrestlePalooza, All Out of Palooza week, whatever we're calling it last week? Is it worth me asking you if there's a clear winner or loser for you, or is it just right there on the tin?
I think it's right there on the tin. I think there is a very clear winner, and that winner is AEW. I think, and even because if you look at it, what is the reason for this? It's to hurt them in a commercial perspective. And given the buy rates were 135 to 140 is what was predicted in the Observer newsletter. That's up from I think what Forbidden Door was doing as well. I think that's didn't affect the buy rate. You look at the quality of the show, and God bless Andreas Hale, who came out and said, gave a review of WrestlePalooza as a C. And I think in some ways he could even end up being quite generous with that C grade for what it is. WWE produced what is a poor show. AEW didn't. It's a long show. It'd be too long. I'd completely agree with your thoughts on that. AEW feels like they've made stars for the future, or in that way. I think particularly of the Kyle Fletcher performance as well, and WWE outside of Stephanie Vaquer, and it was a nice finish in the end. But like you're thinking that's the only kind of star, and we've seen the way they booked the women's division. How much is that really going to mean in the scheme of things in the moment? I think it gets the reaction as well, and AEW have discovered that Saturday afternoons and afternoon start times is the way they need to go, and it doesn't affect their buy rate. Because I think my assumption is that the Europeans and the worldwide market are making up any loss that you might get in the US, and I think the shows are so good that the US fan base who are willing to buy AEW pay-per-views, they're not like decreased. They're not being asked to stay up till 2 a.m. or anything. They're just being asked to start from 3 o'clock. I think it's just been an absolute winning week, and I think this is the thing with WWE. It's just like, you can counter program, you can put these things in place, but if what you're producing is shit, then do you know what? It's not going to make a blind bit of difference.
Yeah. And shit within context as well, because like obviously that's a Pelter will often get. I think you probably have got to hold the two companies to different standards as far as like really what their aims and goals are and the way they put the TV together and the way they put these pay-per-views together. But by any metric, like even if you're the biggest Fev fan in the world, like that was like low end as far as like the pay-per-view week went for them. And that's the thing, like from a quality of show point of view, the story last week was AEW, and like you say, from these numbers that have now came out, like the story is AEW. Like if they do hold true, like there's your argument, isn't it? Like the chat is saying and like you're saying, is to keep the afternoon pay-per-views going, really, like between 135,000 to 140,000, and everyone's a lot happier coming out of it. Let's do more of that. I don't think Wrestle Dream and what's the next one coming up? Sorry, Full Gear, obviously coming up. And we got World's End as well. That's around Christmas to New Year season. That probably can't be as early as a pay-per-view as well. But like something to put in place for next year, because like as Tony Khan said, like doing the rounds this week, like they've ducked and they've pivoted based on what WWE are doing, and I've come out smelling the roses. Like arguably they've possibly came out better than they would do if they just stuck to the guns and WWE hadn't run the weekend at all, and it hadn't been like that big weekend really, because it was a slightly lesser than card from AEW. It was one that I think I was worried going in they were gonna be able to compete with the quote unquote star power of WWE, who obviously just imploded themselves in front of our eyes. And yeah, you can't call it anything other than a win, really. Like it really was like the week that like maybe WWE will learn the lesson now that it's just not worth doing this from a business point of view, from a creative point of view, from like just a pure, like clearly obviously the reason they're doing this is the damage they're hoping to inflict on their competitor. If none of that's happening, then yeah, maybe go back to the drawing board, lads. And as we said about AEW a lot 18 months ago, concentrate on yourself instead.
Yep, that's it. And I think the problem is that that's the thing they're trying to avoid is going back on themselves, because it involves them being reflective. That's not something they do. Everything is someone else's fault. It's never their fault. We saw it with Unreal, which was so dreadful. I sort of refused to finish that as a documentary series. But they've been given a storyline in their hands of the John Cena retirement run for a year, and they've just kind of fucked it up.
All time bad, isn't it? All time bad.
It really is. And it's not like they've not had time to go around and change this. They've just made a fucking pig's ear of the whole thing. And they do need to like reflect on what they're doing on a creative basis, because this didn't even deliver. WrestlePalooza didn't even deliver on moments. That was the thing. It didn't even unless you're talking about outside of the Stephanie Becker title win, like the other moment sort of being like the Stephanie McMahon, and then just a rinse and repeat Brock Lesnar match, which
Undertaker's stand-up routine. Don't forget that. Gotta throw that in there.
Yeah, oh my God, that fucking bloke. Honestly, he was always all about protecting the business and his legacy, and it's just like he is the only one who manages to shit on his legacy from a great height on a daily
big bag of cash, innit? Drop at his door, he'll do it. He'll say it, and he'll sell it.
Well, he'll be at WrestleMania in Saudi, no matter how fucking knackered and old he is at that point as well. But there's also, and I thought of the first line in the Observer newsletter this week, kind of like, I think it might be the second line in there, but Dave Meltzer said the thing is, if you have AEW and you've watched an AEW show and then you watch WWE, which is kind of what I did, it just looks so much worse. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's glitz, and that opening video package that WWE did with the ESPN stuff was great. But after that, it just kind of it falls
How
dead.
does he mean, from like a set point of view or from like a presentation point of view, or what?
An experience point of view. That AEW comes across just better, like it's a more modern product, which has like in terms of better wrestling.
Maybe now selective there though. I don't know if Dynamite and Collision that's true.
Yeah, I mean, no, but he's talking about the All Out and WrestlePalooza.
Right.
If you're going from one into the other, that there is that kind of effect. I mean, this isn't saying AEW's perfect. There are issues and kind of like, obvious issues there. But I think this was the week where I just found myself going, Jesus Christ, like, I mean, I don't think I can, like, I can't overstate how much I end up enjoying AEW, particularly when I've seen some of the other promotions and some of the other stuff that has been sort of like bouncing around in the meantime. But yeah, just from so Simon says there as well, the action on WWE is just so much slower. It's just sort of like, it feels just like that bit more pedestrian. Whereas like, you think of what AEW produced in that main event in particular, which I loved so much. And I was I have to say you were right. I was more skeptical about Kyle Fletcher, less about the sort of talent, but would it work? Would he kind of get over? Was it not too soon? It's been well
It was
worthwhile.
worth the risk, yeah, wasn't it?
Absolutely well worth the risk as well. I enjoyed his match with Commander on Collision as well at the same time. Just thinking, yeah, this is a guy that you can kind of get invested in. And WWE, you just sort of look at them and think, there are people they could potentially do that for, whether it be a Bron Breakker, but you're not convinced that they'll actually manage to do it. Because I think in theory it works, but not necessarily in practice.
Yeah, and that could be true of AEW as well. Like, who knows? With I've got some misgivings, to be honest, about Kyle's presentation of himself, maybe as much as anything this week. Although clearly he's leveled up clearly, and like that is the headline here. Like I think that's a given overall. But yeah, obviously they brought Jacob Fatu back to SmackDown this week, so it was good to see him back on the telly as well. So at least there's that too. But as Platt says here, yeah, one of my big takeaways of the week was that that you just take that head to head of the AEW main event versus the WWE main events, and what match achieved more? Very clearly the AEW match. And again, the setup is different, and the way that the fans are watching both shows is different, which is interesting when you think about Meltzer's take on that. Like it's the flashy, arguably bigger time presentation of WWE versus just all of the stuff that's happening on an AEW show. I often wonder that actually, with your mythical casual fan, what are they actually in reality going to be more drawn to? And there's obviously strong arguments in both ways there as well. But yeah, it is hard to not compare the two, even if they do feel like in very different businesses coming out of the weekend. I mean, did you have any other big highlights from the AEW preview outside of Kyle Fletcher? I think it was a show though. It was a lot of fun in the moment, but it, again, wasn't missing its own, issues as far as up and down the card, and as far as I think a lot of those AEW booking issues. We could talk about Dynamite and Collision. I think did rear their head on Dynamite and Collision. Even if I'm still overall, I'm positive on the product. I'm enjoying it right now. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm almost excited to rip into the little bits I don't like, to be honest. So maybe that's just the way I consume wrestling versus the way other people consume wrestling on that subject point. But yeah, was there any other big positives and negatives to take away from AEW for you?
From All Out in particular, or just AEW in
All Out, and then we can get into obviously Dynamite and Collision.
So from All Out, I thought I really enjoyed the three-way with Okada, Takeshita, and Mascara Dorada, simply because Mascara Dorada it's almost like he made an internal decision of like, right, I'm here to eat the pin, but I'm going to go out and I'm just going to do my absolute fucking utmost to try and steal this away. Because there's one bloke here who's going to be half-assed about it, and the other lad isn't. And I'm just going to go. And it, we kind of knew what was going to be happening with that match, but I just enjoyed the kind of level of shift that he put in there as well. And he was really spectacular. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was worried after the first hour because I didn't like the opening tag. Like in particular, like the ending and the other stuff, which then bled into Dynamite with the most horrific thing that's ever happened in an AEW ring. And I was like, Tony, you've been there since the beginning. Where the fuck have you been? Anyway, I digress. And then into the Eddie Kingston thing, which just felt like that really got me down. And again, we'll talk more about it when it comes into the sort of the follow up, particularly up there on Collision as well. But then I think there was enough stuff, like if we're thinking like, you want three good matches. I enjoyed the tax and tables match, which I wasn't necessarily expecting to do. I was like kind of, okay, how's this going to work? And I thought it was great. And I thought, considering how much I loved the MJF Mystico match from CMLL, which, don't get me wrong, had its own bit of blood in there as well, but was much more sort of like, you think of like classic pro wrestling. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm trying to think of what else I enjoyed from the show. I even enjoyed the ladder match. I mean, I enjoy Brodido. I mean, as kind of ladder matches are ladder matches, and they did the kind of, it's incredibly spotty. But all of this stuff, you don't get any of that at WrestlePalooza for me. Like, and I've heard like positives about the Brock Lesnar stuff, and and people try to, like, say, well, he's crying, leaving the kids crying and everything else. And I'm just like, but really, for like for what end? Is he going to be cleanly putting over a Gunter or what is reported to be Bron Breakker at WrestleMania? It's like, is the juice worth the squeeze for that? Like, I don't understand. I thought the sign behind him as well, where it said, what is it? We know what he did, and he shouldn't be here. Am I right in thinking that was the sign?
Oh, I didn't see that.
That was behind Brock Lesnar there as well. And at one point, you can clearly see he sees it. You know, I think when I looked at it, I thought there was just a high. I mean, the Chris Statlander title win, I'm unsure about, and I'm even more unsure about it after the stuff with the Death Riders. I'm like still thinking.
Oh, interesting. I like that on Dynamite.
It delivered in that kind of like, I was surprised. I thought she was going to end up joining the Death Riders. I thought, are we going to end up with her versus Marina Shafir? I don't think I'm necessarily excited to see a match like that and a Wheeler Yuta based storyline. I don't think I could care for, but that's just my own misgivings about Wheeler Yuta. But yeah, there's so much, like, just in terms of what an AEW show gives, it's so much more. I just wish it wasn't so fucking long. Like, and that's the problem. It is if you're not watching all of it live, like I didn't. I mean, I watched some of it live, and then I had to go to bed, and then afterwards you're looking and you're going like, geez, I've watched like 2 other matches, and we're like, gee, we've got another like 2 hours left. I'm like, Christ, it becomes a slog at that point. And these, you know, it's not just a 5-hour show; it's a 6.5-hour show. And I agree. I think the crowd weren't great. Like, and that's something as well that, like, I think that needs to be kind of spoken about. And I know that the prevailing theory is that it's a very like WWE crowd, and they wanted those kind of like moments and things like that instead. But they weren't lifting it up at times as well. So it didn't pop massive either for Cope, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the broad strokes, like conversation on AEW for me is that it's the pay-per-view, and it's less. I mean, it is the length, but it's more the like just the idea of trying to cram so much onto a pay-per-view and trying to like discern sometimes what's important and what's not important, and what's important to Tony Khan's head versus what's actually presented as important when it comes to the shows themselves. And I think that was true with the follow-up as well. Like, obviously, I was mixed on Dynamite following like the pay-per-view. Like, it was. There were bits of it that I did enjoy. I was massively into it, to Darby and Mox and all of their interactions on the show. I'm in. You know, maybe I wouldn't have put the belt on Chris Statlander in that way, and I think like the follow up is still. We'll see what comes with it. But as far as execution of follow up on that and seeing at least the initial week's follow up, I think she felt important and involved in paying off that Wheeler Yuta stuff. I think was an important thread to pay off. I thought that was very good. I actually think broadly the Death Rider stuff had the best follow up on Dynamite this week as far as the pay per view goes. It was just some of the other stuff that I was left lacking, and I kind of felt the same like coming out of Collision. Like, I was hoping Collision would make me feel better about some of it, and it just made me feel worse about elements of it. And again, there's plenty of positives to get through as well. Like, Eddie Kingston, you mentioned there, obviously not being just given a microphone to just come out and have like a promo on Dynamite. Like, how is that not a thing you do when you're bringing him back? And again, to Garrett's point when we reviewed the pay-per-view, maybe part of that is, he doesn't 100% look at the races right now, and you see him on Collision, and he doesn't 100% look like that. I don't think it helps. The association with Hook was exactly what I'm feared. You see him come out on Collision with him, and it just feels like, oh, here comes Hook's mate Eddie Kingston, which is not on the top 20 list things of like things we were excited to see Eddie Kingston do when he returned to AEW. I think even if you are, accounting for the fact that he's not quite there yet, I think it's still several notches below where Eddie Kingston is. Because one of my big takeaways from Dynamite was that Mark Briscoe getting involved with comedy stuff, at least on Collision. I feel like maybe MJF, who listens to a lot of podcasts, I doubt he listens to us, but he probably listened elsewhere to people giving that same critique, maybe had the word. And, let's put over that Mark Briscoe beat me here a bit. And obviously the Mark on Collision talk about that don't, just because I'm laughing doesn't mean that, I don't remember that I beat MJF on the weekend and how important that was. So at least that was a bit of a step up. But real mixed bag for me. I don't know what your takes on some of those individual stands as far as I think it feels like a very AEW problem in that, like, again, you had these pay-per-views who come out of it really excited. We're all excited for that first Dynamite afterwards, and most of the time I come out of it going, oh, right, okay, we only got 3 weeks to the next pay-per-view and I'm not exactly excited for it right now. Like, they just don't seem to be very good at bottling that momentum and bottling that goodwill that comes out of a pay-per-view that naturally should follow with the TV that follows, and should follow, in a structural point as well when it comes to some of those individual stories.
Yeah, I think, and this is perhaps the overall, when just looking at, say, like Dynamite, for example, it feels like it's been mookie balled within an inch of its life. That's not a phrase we've gone back to for a while, but it does feel like there's 15 minutes here for this story, 15 minutes for this story, 15 minutes for this story. And like that, I'm not necessarily too hopeful for. There's this weird thing that's going on as well, this admission that other stuff they've tried, particularly with tag teams they've separated and are now back together, it's just like, yeah, that hasn't worked, and we're just going to have to go down the route of bringing them back, and they're going to be less than what they were when we broke them up in the first place, which kind of renders the whole thing for a couple of years. Well, that was a gigantic waste of time, wasn't it? Like, whether it be Jack Perry and Lucha, I'm not bothered about anyway at the best of times. And now they're back together, and you're like, right, okay, is there going to be any real explanation for it? But no, that's just the route they're going down there, and the acclaimed stuff on Collision as well. It's just like I
the
don't
role
understand.
of Billy Gunn is now played by Jerry Lynn for some reason.
Yeah,
why do they have to have a da? Can you not tell that story another way? Like, do we have to just literally do the same story but have Jerry Lynn instead of Billy Gunn? Surely we could pivot there.
Yeah, why do they need a babysitter? Why can't they just go out and just like tell the story between these two guys, and like almost like try and tie it up and go, we've separated from each other, it's not worked out at all. I'm talking about like as if it's like a relationship where people broke up, tried going out with other people, it's been somewhat of a disaster, so they decided just to get back together for the sake of comfort. And that's really what you've got almost in, but you've got two tag teams doing this at the same time, obviously in slightly different ways. It just doesn't really, it's just not a good sign. It's almost just like, yeah, do you remember that period of time where our booking was starting to go to hell in a handcart? Yeah, we're having to kind of like still try and redeem those kind of features from it as well. And it's, yeah, and I even have to say, like, the idea of Hangman with just wrestling someone who's like kind of like a non-entity in Lee Moriarty, and it's like you put.
I felt bad on my video. I really went in on Lee Moriarty. It's not his fault. It's not that he's done. It's just the president. Somebody corrected me on it. Apparently, he hasn't had a win on Dynamite in 3 years. The ROH Pure Champion. And
Yeah,
and it's less about that. And again, I think some people took my point the wrong way. It wasn't about the sanctity of the AEW World Title and anything like that. It's just more, are you expecting us to be invested in this? I know, he's got obviously the big ties to the area and stuff like that, but it didn't feel like the hometown crowd gave a fuck anyway. Like, these are just the little things I think AEW misses sometimes. It's like Tony Khan's like, oh yeah, give me him. He'll have a match with Hangman Page. I'd like to see that written down on a bit of paper. That sounds like it'd be a great match if I inputted it into EWR. And it's like, yeah, it would be. But also, we even better, wouldn't it, if you just a little bit more investment in Lee Moriarty, and you didn't forget about him next week. Like, clearly we've already forgotten about Rio, those types of decisions, or the broader point. I think that rather than obviously a match with Hangman Page and Lee Moriarty is going to be good, but it's that level of significance and importance that you probably want behind it.
Exactly, and it's like, because for a lot of people it'll be like, well, really, what does Ring of Honor mean to them? They won't be seeing Ring of Honor. It's such a minimal.
It's just the people with the belts who lose all the time, innit? That's what Ring of Honor is.
They are. That's exactly it.
And also JC Mateo on SmackDown this week, who had his ROH belt in one of the shots on a little clip they showed.
Oh God, yeah, God, that's going back a fair whack of time when he had one of those. But then you also think that Lee Moriarty is part of Shane Taylor Promotions, who have never been like, they make the odd appearance, but they're like complete non-entities in AEW. So it's just like, well, like, really, this guy wrestles in a promotion that very few people see, with a stable that very few people see. And Hangman is just kind of like, it's like kind of like an afterthought. And I was thinking, I was like, well, what are they doing, with Hangman?
It seems like it might be Joe.
Cycle?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I couldn't work that out. I was
Unless
like,
it's Pac. That was my worry. That was my thought, that it'd be Pac.
I see. That's what I came to. Claudio or Pac. And I was a bit like, well, that's just giving him. It could be with Pac, it'll be a better match, but it's not main event stuff. And Pac has been so stop-start. He's just been missing for large period of times, and then coming back in, and then going away again, and coming back in. There's such inconsistency with him. like the idea of it probably being a joke. Personally, I just think it, like, does it need to be a heel? And that's when you mentioned Joe. It's just like, well, actually, yeah. Why can't it just be like, no, I'm just taking on all comers, even if it's people who I generally get along with. Like, I kind of would prefer if it was that, rather than trying to, like, well, we can't go back to Moxley, so we'll reheat one of the other Death Riders. It's like, no, that's not gonna really.
Yeah, that
cut
would be
the
lesser
mustard.
than, I think. Rather like some kind of challenger of the month, like a Joe, or just somebody they could heat up and tell a story with. It'd be more interesting than like the second or third up in command in Death Riders, absolutely. Especially when Mox is off doing something far more interesting with Darby, which again I did really love this week.
And I forgot to mention that from All Out as well, and that was kind of like, that was a lot more fun than I thought it
Very
was.
then, isn't it, that you get lit on fire and then Dynamite comes and Moxley's just there. But, escalation's what they do. What will he do next? That's kind of the draw with these two, to be honest. Like they're the two characters you can get away with that with me. We'll see, though, what happens in the I Quit match. But what a great step. Like, I love that. Like, two people who you can't really picture saying those words. Like I said, I expect it to be Mox. I expect it to be like imagine that cathartic moment. Like, this will be Mox. Obviously, Mox losing the title was massive, but Mox having to say I quit feels like the real, like, full stop on, like, this run of the Death Riders as well. Like, how great is going to be that moment going to be? I think it's all been like such a 5-star stuff for me. I've loved it with them too.
And I think as well, I mean, I did laugh when he did the setting fire, and then you have Tony Schiavone talking about Beth Phoenix being the worst thing that he's ever seen, like, in a ring as well. You're being technical. Like, there was a lad being set on fire backstage, like, which you're choosing to ignore.
Schiavone's not really been on it this last while, I don't think.
It makes me. It's funny though, because I'm expecting obviously Darby to win the I Quit match, if that's the case, which would be that Moxley would have submitted / said I quit in 2 high-profile pay-per-view matches within the last 6 months, if we're including the result from All In there as well, which I think in theory should lead to a bit of inter-Death Riders strife, if you're thinking of that being. But then I don't want it to go down that route, particularly as I've brought in members, or whether or not he does a refresh and a rebrand. I know that's been spoken about as well, about possibly doing like sort of somewhat of a reset of them as a stable, particularly if they end up getting Gabe Kidd in the new year, which I would imagine that would end up being the case.
A lot of bodies then, isn't it? I was thinking that this week, if Gabe's there and Pac's there and now Garcia's part of it, you would think something's got to give there, wouldn't you?
Personally, I just get rid of Scrappy Doo and get rid of Pac. But I think Pac, you can actually do something with him as a face. Really
effective in his role. Like, he's good at what he's doing. Like, he is. Like, the segments on Dynamite and Collision were good. Like, I'll tell you what, he's doing a hell of a better job than Daniel Garcia right now. There's a hot take. Like, I've always wanted Garcia to join the Death Riders, or at least I did 3 years ago when they were the Blackpool Combat Club. Like, and I probably would have, like, greenlit him joining them now, but, like, I feel like Willie Geezer makes a lot more with his screen time than Garcia is right now. Garcia is just, I don't know. Like, the stuff with Daddy Magic, not willing to look at him and stuff like that, that was a nice little wrinkle this week. And there's a little bit of, like, interest in me in seeing that. But I don't know. In general, Garcia, just, I don't know. It feels like he lacks a bit of the presence to be like this act in the group, and also is lacking a bit of a, like you say there, with the amount of people in the stable, a defined role when you've already got Wheeler Yuta, for my part, and definitely for Garrett's part, like chewing scenery doing the Scrappy Doo stuff, so we can't even do that.
Yeah, this is my fears when he joined them is like, right, are they just going to end up plopping him into a tag team? And my thought after watching this week's TV, thinking, that might be the route they end up going down.
Yeah, there's a couple of points where Yuta was looking at him, where it was just like, what are you fucking doing here? On the entrance, and I think in one of the promos.
Yeah, exactly. He's there. But already he's a bloke that's there, which you consider all they did.
In his PE kit, as the group said there, full on Wardlow. Going to the shop for a loaf of bread and a carton of milk.
But he's forgotten the T-shirt.
It's me, like, I've got this up for Scran of the Week this week. I might have clothing of the week. I bought a pair of Crocs this week, JP, for going around Chiang Mai and, going with the laundrette and stuff like that. You want some comfy shoes to slide on. Oh, they're fucking great. I'm still wearing them in, JP. I'm not going to get there, but I'm not expecting Daniel Garcia to throw a pair of Crocs on to complete the outfit. I've got a pair of, gym shorts that I wear that look a bit like Garcia. I'm not one of the knobheads who walks around Thailand topless. I think I put a couple of pounds back on while I've been in Chiang Mai. There hasn't been enough walking around for me to justify that, but You know, yeah, I feel like that's the thing that's needed for Garcia to complete this Wardlow look.
Yeah, he really could, like, because this is the thing, is it's just so incomplete. And you think of one of the few positives that came out of the Philadelphia tapings of stuff that you could tangibly take from it, like, was the stuff they did with Garcia. And that feels already like that was quite some time ago. And that's insane, because it's like 3 weeks till he since he joined them, and
Didn't
already
feel like he had a big plan.
No,
it's like the Daddy Magic thing. Like, I think it's always been in the back burner, but it never felt like they had a real plan to pay that off. Why is Daddy Magic always around Garcia? Like, I guess they're just mates, but he always commentates on his matches, and there was always like that. Something's going to happen at some point. It finally happened, so at least there's that. It's a bit low level, but at least there's that.
I still think you need a bit of a pay. Like, I mean, for me, it would just be like, do it a Wrestle Dream, have it as some kind of like death match, just to get the bloody thing, just so you can like tick that box that you've just done.
That'll happen, won't it? It'd be like a Rampage main event, and one of them will juice a gusher, probably Daddy Magic there.
Oh, yeah.
Simon saying there, Garcia wandering down with a pot noodle from the all-night petrol station. Yeah,
exactly.
I think he'd be a Bombay bad boy man, not a chicken and mushroom man, I don't think.
Oh, he would be a Bombay bad boy man. And he'd have 2 sets of blue skins as well, because they've run out of king-size silver. So he's just like, well, I've fucked this now, and I have to make him the old-fashioned way in for some jumbo bifters. But it's underwhelming, I find, like, that part of it. And this ties in with what you've said about the sort of like AEW, see, like the individual like stories and things like that from it. I mean, I know we probably feel differently on the women's tag belts being kind of like introduced. It's something I've said for a while. I'm kind of all right with it.
Them to book it. Like, it's like this Blood and Guts coming up, isn't it? Like, it's fucking... There's a massive positive. Like, yes, Blood and Guts should be for the women. Like, of course it should. Because, like, we already did, like, a big cage match with the men at Forbidden Door. Like, it would have been daft to do, like, a War Games again with the men, do a Blood and Guts with the men. I think it makes sense to do it with the women. I think, like, from a prestige point of view, it makes sense. I think from a match point of view, it makes sense when you think of the bodies that could be in that. That's going to be massive as well, isn't it? Like, I think it'll probably eclipse quality-wise if you think of like the women's hardcore matches that we've had on TV over time. It's been pretty much something AEW always get right, but linked to the tag division conversation, though, for me, it's like you've also got to make it feel important and significant in the moments that lead up to it, not just leave it to the women to have to do that in the match. And I don't know, the build up to it's just been here's some groups of women they can just wrestle all the time. Like, I'd worry that'll happen with the tag division as well. That's the thing. It's a hat on a hat, isn't it? To quote Rich Fan.
That's it. And how much TV time are they going to be getting in terms of the build for this? Because and
how soon is it going to be? I could literally see it being in like 2 weeks. I could see it being like that title Tuesday, genuinely. We'll see. That probably be a bit soon, but I think not much longer than that.
I mean, this is something that should be going on a while. I mean, it's been needed, but it also comes back to, and dare I say it, it's just the lack of available real estate of TV time to give them in order to push some of this stuff. Because even the stuff I did like Tekla versus Amanita, they just threw it away on TV, and it was just like,
in a week when no one was going to talk about it by the end of the week, were they?
Yeah, and that was the problem, is they sort of just threw that away, and now it just appears that now Amanita's in a team with Jamie Hayter. You've got a Triangle of Madness team. You've got Tay J. You'll have, I don't know whether or not it'll be Stat and Harley Cameron. They'll probably end up putting together. There'll be, who will Willow end up being? I mean, there is possibilities for it, but it is also the fact. I don't say they need another hour of TV time, but it's going to be the eternal problem. I mean, my next thing is I wanted them to do this, and I also wanted them to get like some sort of women's only show, just like for a lot of these sort of stories to be able to play out, so you can give it the time and give it the depth that it's needed. But they're not going to do it. So if they're not going to do
more
this,
with the segments they've got now, just throwing lazy matches together like that pre-show or All Out, isn't it? Really, is it? Even the booking leading to the two women's matches on the pay-per-view, there was plenty of TV time. They just didn't do anything with it.
Well, there's also a load of shite you can kick off the TV, whether it be Dalton Castle and the Outrunners. Do you need them on that as well?
That's nice. I was going to sauce off with Dalton Castle and a sawback.
Yeah, I've never been the biggest fan there as well. But but there is this. It's almost like there's this. When I come back to the mucky ball point of trying, it's like it's like half-arsing is not the right phrase, but you're underserving lots of different stories simultaneously rather than focusing on a few for that week and leaving some other ones till next week. If we think of say a Game of Thrones, like back in the day, there'd be storylines you'd be really invested in, but those characters wouldn't appear on an episode for a particular week. They just wouldn't be the focus. It'd be someone else. And then you go, and then they'll be on the week afterwards, and you go, I really like that. And it's not that you magically forgot about who these people were. You just kind of said, no, we're going to focus on this story. We're going to give it the proper time and the proper level of investment that it kind of deserves, rather than trying to shoehorn in so much other stuff, which then can be a bit overwhelming. And that's kind of how I ended up feeling. Like, the stuff I liked on these shows, but it did feel like there was so much stuff being thrown at me when, what's
so many
Collision,
characters.
Dynamite and Collision, like back to back. And it was just like, Jesus Christ, I'm like knackered from having watched this. Which shouldn't really
I saw Alvarez getting grief for like not recognizing Lee Johnson and the other one. What's his name from GCW? Blake Christian, isn't it?
Blake
It's just like it's just blokes, isn't it? It's just blokes coming out to. Oh, I guess I invested in these two, which I guess was to Prestige TV. That was a criticism of the Wire at times. Too many characters, you couldn't follow them all, couldn't figure out who they were. But I think the better job of figuring out who was important. And to be fair, they were all just great characters, so it kind of worked. That's less so the case to your point when some of those characters are what they are, but.
It's almost like we're basically saying, you're on HBO Max. Feel free to watch some of the other shows that are actually on HBO Max if you want an idea about how to integrate loads of different characters and loads of different storylines going on at the same time, along with a big meta storyline. It's like there is precedent.
Skill to it, isn't it? And AEW don't always land it. That's kind of the thing. I don't want this to come off like a big moan either. I just think it's just I was trying to say it on my reaction video, like. Tony Khan being Tony Khan has got us here. Tony Khan being Tony Khan, who just will just throw a random match that he fancies seeing this week on TV, and then we all get to enjoy it. Is the positive you often get with Tony Khan, and they're not doing the legwork of making certain things feel more important than others, or just like laying out like why you should believe in this particular character in this particular story, or why, to your point, this segment is more important than that one. Like that's fundamentally been an issue in AEW storytelling over time. It's almost like a flaw you've kind of got to take with the overall, even if they could, shore up in certain ways. I was going to say, some of you they don't do that with. Some of you Tony's very invested in. But you make this hologram story they're telling over. That seems like he's. I thought it was. I just assumed it was aware. Apparently, he is legitimately injured. But
again,
I don't know. Are we going to get evil hologram Ares? Who was announced for Carrot next year, doing stuff in the role instead? We could. That could be what they do for the next 3 months or so. I mean, he's undefeated. To be fair, hologram's undefeated. It would have been earned that title shot going on this week. I would have, to our point, rather spent that TV time on, getting over the fact that Mark Briscoe had won his big match, or making Orange Cassidy's return feel more important than it did. But, hologram is what Tony Khan was choosing to invest in, and I guess we've moved on already. We've got to.
I couldn't give a shit about Lucha Glacier. I really couldn't.
What about evil Lucha Glacier? What about Lucha Mortis?
I mean, evil Lucha Glacier, when he gets the mask off and he's got the weird painted face Aries, okay, I can get on board with it. But hologram, I don't know. It's so weird because when there was the announcement on Dynamite, I was like, all right, yeah, we're going to put an end to this streak because it shouldn't be existing. But like hologram always comes in, he always feels like he just comes in really cold, outside of those first few weeks. And I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler or anything else like that. He's just, for me, not spectacular enough to be so sort of outside. I think Commander's are so much more spectacular.
That was a great match with him and Kyle this week. It was. Even if Kyle didn't show great instincts in moments of the match. Did you see the bit it's been gift to hell where he's getting the crowd to boo yay and he's getting cheered and he's just going along with it? It's like, Kyle, you got a bit of momentum here as a heel, mate. You're moving up the card. Leave this stuff behind you, mate. Get those boos.
That's going to be the trickiest thing for Kyle Fletcher to nail, is because the genie's out the bottle. Everyone is just like, no, this lad actually is really fucking good. And
doesn't need to do 2 power bombs anymore, does he, on the guardrail or whatever the spot was?
No, exactly. But like, and God, I love that brainbuster. The way he just delivers it.
It was cool.
Snapping it, just absolutely fantastic. But when it was like him and Hologram, I was just looking forward to him just crushing Hologram. But then it goes into it's clone, and it's just like, right, okay, what is this supposed to tie in with the fact we got Tron Ares coming out? Because this stuff feels like it's from a different universe. It's not grounded in any kind of reality. And there's almost that part of me just thinks, have Hologram do whenever he's back, because again, he just seems to be sort of somewhat snake bitten with injuries and just these extended absences.
And you could literally just put someone else under the mask, and it'd be fine.
Yeah, I'd just have him off in CMLL for a bit, have him sort of like reheated, get a bit of buzz, have some like reasonably big matches there, and then bring him in. Like that would be the route I would prefer to see with him, but it isn't, because Tony has honestly, he's been hard for this Hologram character for clearly since his youth. And we're still going to be, he's going to be doing this, an evil Hologram. And it's just like, and it's not being done with like a wink and a nod either. It's been like, it's kind of very like straight face. I'm like, I don't get any of this stuff here at all. Yeah, the Sin Cara feud from WWE 2011, when I very much checked out at that point. But I remember watching it and just thinking, my God, is this bloke meant to be the biggest draw in the world? But yeah, if you weren't a fan of Sin Cara, just watch Mystico. Like that's his natural home there as well. But yeah,
he was missing a hype man in his corner, mate. That'd make him feel more important.
Yeah.
And better.
Oh fuck me! Why is he still around? Can he just do the Spanish language commentary and leave it at that?
I thought he was done when Penta and Phoenix left. More for me. It's just we got a guy in a mask, and we'll put him with Abrahantes. Why not? Why not do it? But I mean, other stuff from like Dynamite and Collision, we can talk kind of in the context of what's coming up this week. I mean, again, like the Dynamite 6th anniversary, I want something big for Mark Briscoe. I want something big for Eddie Kingston, but I don't think I'm getting it. I'm getting more Hook taking his mic time away, like we got on here Collision this week, which again,
incredible.
Just baffles me as far as people who should feel important on your show. But to that point, there's a bigger one. You thought this week's Dynamite obviously got Death Riders against Hangman Joe and Hobbs, which they built up with the backstage promo, which I enjoyed. Which again, did feel again. Samoa Joe was world champion. Was it within the last 12 months? If it wasn't, it was only a bit longer ago than that. You forget that, don't you, with AEW sometimes, because he just slotted right back into the stable role. But you've got that sleeping giant there. You could maybe snap him out of it. Statlander and Darby Allin against Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta. Obviously, we'll have to agree to disagree on that. I've been loving that stuff. I think it's that's the positive of this Chris Statlander story. I still don't know if they put the world title on her. I still don't know if that's going to be the solution to her booking problems based on a TBS title run. Like, used to say, just because she's got a belt, they're going to book her well. But the story element of it, I'm into. Kyle Fletcher, Orange Cassidy, that's an upgrade, to be fair. What you say about the hologram stuff. And that should have been the match they always booked, or maybe it was the match they were always going towards. But again, Orange Cassidy, big time character, should feel big time on these shows going forward. Jurassic Express, whatever we think of them, at least they're being advertised to explain whatever the fuck happened there, and how we cover that Luchasaurus plot hole in there as well. Tony Storm's going to be on the show, which Tony Khan has been putting over. But I'm burying the lead here, JP, and as were they. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander are taking on JP. I've just let me read this match graphic. Bro Dido, which is Bandido and Brody King, and some bloke called Kenny Omega. He's just he's in the match. He's back. He's on Dynamite this week. I mean, I know they had Brody King, didn't they? Cut the promo to sell it, but does that not like just sum up AEW? Like, it's Kenny Omega come back. Let's hope this is the start of something. He comes back. We have this match. It lays the groundwork for some kind of story. Maybe it's him and Kyle Fletcher coming up. Maybe we get there somehow coming out of this match. I prefer it to be him and Hangman, but maybe we get that further down the line. But yeah, what an inconspicuous way to on Collision after missing the very important pay-per-view.
Incredible.
This is where Kenny's coming back. I mean, I know there were reasons why he had to take that couple of weeks off, but God, the timing couldn't be worse. And yeah, it doesn't fill me with confidence that he's back on in these run-of-the-mill multi-person matches, which again, I know a lot of our audience very much enjoy. And obviously when the bell rings, I'm sure I'll be among them too.
Yeah, but there's that part of me this is the conversation we've had about Kenny Omega.
There's no money on the line either as well. JP, am I supposed to be invested in this? I need $500,000 on the line at least.
That's it.
To be interested in these multi-persons. Come on.
I think we need to go beyond $500,000 to $750,000 to fuck it. Let's make it $1 million. Every match is $1 million. Why not? Like shits and giggles. I mean, the fact it was like, it wasn't even like it was the opening thing, and it wasn't like, it was just, it's Brody King, who doesn't normally do a whole lot of doesn't have a whole lot of promo time delivering this. I would have just even preferred if it was just like some sort of match graphic and the commentators going batshit. Like, I'd have been like, okay,
oh my god,
right.
Kenny Omega's back. It's not even that, is it really? Yeah.
Nah, it isn't even that.
After that,
and it's just almost the idea of, like we said, the idea of, all right, you get to use him sparingly. It might be in 6 big matches a year, but each one of those matches will feel like a big event. Maybe do it that way. So I'm kind of there going, I don't want him to do too much. I don't want. I worry about the risk of him getting injured. And in many ways, it'd be like, if you've not got a plan for Hangman this month, crazy plan, put him in there with Kenny and have him and Kenny versus the Bucks and just do a rematch of that match, because you know it'll be fucking great. And then that
you can make that feel more
towards...
important than this throwaway Dynamite match with the Bucks instead. Save that Dynamite for something like that. You can give like that prestige.
Yeah, I was thinking you could do it at the pay-per-view if you don't want to have a challenger of the month for Hangman Page, because technically he'd be within the 30-day rule, wouldn't he, having had that Lee Morgan?
And it could be going there. It could be. That could be the story to tell.
And that would be fine, because then that could lead towards Kenny and Hangman for the world title, if you did want to do that in friendly competition, as opposed to it being like heel versus face dynamic. I'd be absolutely fine with that, because the match would be a killer, and it would, it would just play off really nicely from itself. But I was just bamboozled from this, because I was just like, what? Why? Kenny Omega's coming back, and he's coming back in this. It's like, okay. Like, I really didn't
never
get
get the money's worth that be. It's like, it's literally a point Andy Quilden made on our interview with him, isn't it? It's like that, that should be an event when Kenny Omega's on your show. You should be selling it like Conor McGregor's got a UFC fight coming up. Like, totally. Yeah. Like, it's kind of a point we've broadly made over the years. It was the same with Brian, though, wasn't it? A few people said that to us in the comments. Like, that was also the case. Like, it wasn't. There were times where they really, especially the world title run, where they really sold that they had one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, Bryan Danielson, under contract, and this big match was going to be important. And then there were times where it was, kind of taken as a given, wasn't it? And it shouldn't be a given when it's someone like that. A Kenny Omega match should mean a lot more than a hologram match, or a lot more than, a lot of the other things on the show to the wider conversation.
Exactly. Him making an appearance at the end of it in order to then hype something like
I think Ace Austin got a better return.
Yeah. I don't know how you feel about him being in the Bang Bang Gang.
I think he could fit. I think it could work. If this is the start of bringing them all back together, because I get perverse enjoyment out of the Bing Bing Gang, to quote one of our friends. But if Jay White ends up, eventually coming back after this, and you get the Guns back together, which seems like it's going to be a long time coming. Like, if they're building something great, if they're just 3 jobbers who are knocking around together, like often happens on this show, then no.
Oh, there's plenty of those for it. But I'm just happy they're doing something with him. Because it's the kind of signings, like, I mean, we're always very skeptical of when AEW have to sign people. This I look at and I go, well, you've signed someone who's young and has got an upside and is very much like a lot of like kind of untapped potential. That TNA had him for so long and never moved him into the world title scene, which I always found utterly bewildering. And I'm not saying that AEW should be doing it, but at least it feels like, okay, he'll be a featured part of TV. He'll be into it in the same way that, like, Josh Alexander.
He hasn't for a while. They've literally done nothing with him. He debuted, he lost, and then he fucked off telly.
And then that's
the first time. He's been like a missing person, hasn't he? For like how many weeks? 12 weeks.
It was like a TV. It was just like he had a tryout match. It just happened to be on live TV.
Yeah, and he was under contract.
Yeah, that was it. It's just like, okay, all right, he's here now. But I think at least getting some use of him, I'm like, I'm all right with it. I mean, if I think of the other big TNA sign, I was saying with Josh Alexander, like I also don't know how I feel about the Don Callis family at times. Like, there's times where I like certain aspects of it, and then I just think I'd like this stable more if they didn't have a Carter in it. Like, I just think it would just be so much more of a better.
It's the meme of it as well, isn't it?
Dynamic, yeah.
The meme of Callis constantly being on the show, the meme of having these heels under the roster, like, I almost kind of get it, but then you've actually got to follow through with it, and then literally 40% of the show sometimes involves Don Callis, and it's like, less might be more.
Those Philadelphia shows did as well, and he adds something to the presentation. I mean, particularly the Hechicero, like when he does the
commentary
ring introduction.
Him and Brian on the pay-per-view was great.
Yeah, he He's always been great at commentary, and he's always been like, whenever he turns up at the commentary desk, it's like I do find myself enjoying him. He's not as an act, I've never not liked him. Like I think he kind of his mind for it, he kind of gets it. And there was a period of time I thought, is he Timu Paul Heyman? But he is more than that. He's better than that as well. It's just that it's such an unwieldy stable as well. There's just so many different kind of moving parts to it. Sometimes it's just hard to keep up. So I don't know why I went into a Don Callis family.
Well, I think we've covered everything going on the TV, at least. That's like it's in our own way, slapdash way. We've gone through everything, I think, that is going on story-wise. So that's everything going up.
We haven't spoke about Cope and FT.
He's not on telly, mate, so he doesn't count. He's gone. Ding dong, the Cope is dead. He's never coming back, mate. He's done.
It'd be a great way if they wrote him out like that. I mean, Jesus Christ! I'm just praying that we get a story about his contract's up in 6 months. Just be like, do not renew.
I think that was a story that potentially it was coming up, but I don't think so. I think he's just doing this movie, isn't he? And they're gonna come back, and then maybe that explains why Brody they won the tag belts. At some point, we'll be doing something with the tag belts for them and Christie and an FTR and probably the Bucks. You've got that in your future, folks, as do I, and I'm just gonna have to grin and bear it when it comes.
It's likely, given the Dynamite match, that we are going to get Brodido versus the Bucks, and the Bucks win the title, and then it leads to the Bucks versus Cope and Cage, and
Seems
then
like
you get FTR into the mix for the titles as well. You know, I think that seems like that's the easier route for it. And I like Brodido. I have to say, this run feels like it's got a lot more. And in fact, if anything, that's one of the big. I say one of the positives, I say big positives, that's probably overstating the case, is how they have tried to rebuild the tag division. I've at least appreciated that it was in a dire place at the start of the year in particular. We were struggling to go through tag teams. They have tag teams now, and even a tag team like GOA, who I'm not like, they're green, they're raw, they're not particularly great, but they mean something on TV. They at least have a place and a kind of a role, and I'm all right with that.
There's always been more you could do with them, massively so, and we've seen it the last few weeks as well. So yeah, we'll see where all that goes as well. But yeah, that's kind of the contents of the TV over there the last while. But there's some news related to that, JP. We can go into that kind of wraps up a few of AEW bows for us to get into before we move on to other matters.
Yeah. So Tony Khan has said on hologram that he is likely out for the rest of 2025. In there that he has significant injuries, out for 2025. Only 26 in there as well. So yeah, it was a get well. So fuck knows what that lad has done. So that's the Tony Khan explanation for what is happening there in the meantime. He says we're all cheering for hologram. I don't know, mate. He might be on his own one for that as well. The tailgate brawl. It is going to be taking place before Wrestle Dream. And I know when you did your review of All Out, there was like this element of confusion that even I sort of tapped into, where you're expecting a 0 hour, but you knew this tailgate brawl existed, you know, just as something for them to put on TV in the afternoon. Did 184,000 on the first one there. And that appears to be what they're going to end up doing, particularly with the pay-per-views being on HBO Max. It just feels like, oh, okay, we're going to have this show because it just is this hour of TV leading to a pay-per-view that people can buy on HBO Max as well. So that's October 18th. I mean, the 0 hour and the format that they did it feels more like it should be tied in with the countdown show. I'd merge those two things together, have the pre-tape packages, cut to RJ City, Bryan Danielson, who was brilliant on the 0 hour, and Renee Paquette talking about it. And then you have your matches on the tailgate brawl, which was available on Triller. But I was, like we said before, I was very confused. People talking about a match, and I'm just like, just watching these three talk in the ring. And then I had to remember it. But it feels very much more like, it's a Warner Brothers Discovery thing. And they want to do it to get people to go towards buying the pay-per-views through HBO Max. And more of it.
It's always stupid stuff like that. It's like, at the end of the day, I mean, it feels like it's that, obviously, but also the fact that just, you know, there's countries that don't have HBO Max, that have Amazon. Just fucking show it. You know, does it really hurt them that much that a bit of technically collision is getting shown around the world. I just think, to be honest, I think it was a net positive to have that like shot window, even in the middle of the day. I'm sure it probably helped with the number. They could just make it help even better if they just did, a slightly better job with these tailgate type shows and didn't end with all the characters dancing like it's a mid 2010s Raw segment with Ted DiBiase and the Boogeyman and whatever. Like, actually do something that sells the show. Go off the air with something massive that goes, oh fucking hell! And now I need to see this because MJF took out Mark Briscoe or Kyle Fletcher, took somebody out or something interesting happens. Have an exciting event, do something. Like the Feds used to do with the free for alls. Obviously, me and Hamlet cover them a lot with in your houses. Like sometimes nothing would happen, and then other times it'd be like literally half an angle would happen. Like, you want to see the rest of it? Especially in the bad days in '95 and '96, they'd take anybody they could get. You want to see the end of this Vader promo? Well, you better get the pay per view. He's walking out now. Buy it now. Like, they could do a better job with them, but like it's a great way to drive interest in the shows and a great use of that television time too. If Collision can't really be a thing when we have Saturday pay per views, obviously.
That's the situation we're at, isn't it? It's just part of a content
Sunday night heat, isn't it? Basically,
it is, and it's just like it's content for content's sake as much as anything. So, I'm never going to be excited by those pre-shows. Just given a 5-hour runtime for All Out, probably something vaguely similar to that for Wrestle Dream as well. Got an hour that's going to be as part of the tailgate brawl. Again, there's probably the idea that, given the reason for the counter programming and everything else, that it's probably a good sign that Warner Brothers Discovery are very invested in being able to look, can you do this show for us to be out there as well? But getting on to what is our favourite subject, which is UK ticket sales.
We're having it in Cardiff from gutted.
Oh, do you know, I was tempted, like I say, got my second eldest son in there because there's a lot of them. He's at he's at Cardiff Uni. I tried to convince him if he was going to stay on.
Is AI making your kids as well? Jesus.
Yeah, I think so. They fucking are. Well, you sorted that, didn't you?
Yeah,
you did.
That's what started it, wasn't it? That was me.
You did start the AI revolution.
The revolution. Well. It is here.
But Dynamite in Manchester at the Co-op Arena, 7,600 crossed at the moment. In there, they're running Manchester in 12 weeks on the AEW ticket.
Mad that 12 weeks
updates.
Time.
Yeah, it's insane.
12 weeks to Christmas, everyone. Well, 13.
Fucking don't. Yeah. Oh, don't say that. That's terrifying for that. On here, they've said with enough demand, they could get to 16,000. I mean, the 10,000 mark is obviously going to be quite easily achieved. And I would have thought that would be the kind of the benchmark for what would look like a hot TV product. If they can get this anywhere close to sort of like 14, that's an incredible figure for AEW in 2025 for TV, not a pay-per-view, but actual TV. And that says a hell of a lot.
Should say as well, this is coming from the AEW Ticket Map account, which uses WrestleTix as their source. But like they were saying that, like obviously, 7,500 out right now. But like literally, apparently in the last 7 days, they shifted 715 tickets. I don't know what's caused that spike. Like that's pretty big, to be fair, for a week, especially a week where I don't know, are people just starting their Christmas planning? Have you started yet? Starting to get your stuff together? I booked a flight. I'll be around after Christmas. I'm the Christmas gift for everybody. Come January time, fly and visit, but I'll be in and out of UK/Ireland across the end of December into January.
Brilliant.
But, that's my excuse, JP. I'm gonna arrive like December the 28th and be like, Christmas is already gone now. I don't need to buy anybody presents. So that's also my plan with birthdays and such while I'm out here. Well, I'm just so far away. What can I do? But other people smarter than me are probably already figuring out their Christmas presents. So maybe that's to answer this.
You should be able to get Christmas presents dirt cheap over there, as long as
that's true. Actually,
the folks and the brother don't listen.
What am I thinking?
Christ, yeah, exactly. You're not far from source when it comes to where stuff is made. You'd imagine you get it for dirt. Here's something authentic and Thai. Just leave off the fact it costs you 35p. And just here you go. And people aren't going to say no to it. They're going to go, oh, okay. But yeah, it's. I don't know where we're going. It's going to be
Christmas.
Brilliant to have you back in there as well for Christmas. But yeah, that's terrifying. I haven't done it. I wait till Black Friday and I go to the outlet store in Swindon because it's just like, and that's when I do all of them. And I did some in Turkey with some hooky football shirts that are just sitting in a suitcase currently as well. But
I could do that. There's plenty of them at the markets. I could get everyone a pair of Crocs. Would everybody like a pair of Crocs? Everyone in life will just get a different colour sorted.
Yeah,
Crocs.
They are. A lot of people won't admit that they wear Crocs, but they are comfortable. I don't own a pair of Crocs. Everyone else in the house does have Crocs. I will wear slippers and or sandals, depending on my point of view. And I've got my Birkies instead.
Some slippers that a lot of the Thai dads I see wearing around here. I'm thinking, can I pull them off? Can I do the full Thai dad look? Maybe I'll bring it to the UK/Ireland when I come back.
Fucking right, do that as well. And like I say, all the money you'll save yourself on that, you could maybe invest in a ticket for the Co-op Arena around Christmas time as well.
In all seriousness, Andy says here, he said he's noticed an influx in Facebook and Instagram ads. Maybe it's that. Actual promotion. Maybe that's what it is. Local promotion, which is obviously a drum you've been banging for a while, you know?
Yeah. And get Will Ospreay in the final few weeks.
He's got no
out of he's not doing anything else
other than rest, obviously, which he should.
He's rest, but as long as you're not asking him to do an interview while doing a headstand simultaneously, he should be perfectly fine to be able to deliver a
he
few
probably
of
would,
those.
wouldn't he? Get well soon.
Yeah, he would do. Just to show off, here's me doing a backflip. It's like, no, mate, just sit down on the seat and answer the questions. You'll be grand. But it's a good sign because it's
get him on loose, man.
Yeah, I've always that. Like this is, and I was actually thinking. I mean, there's always been the talk that the TV, and Tony Khan's sort of banged the drum about this, that the TV ratings for Dynamite has gone up. These afternoon start times for pay-per-views in the US, which has led to early evening over here. You have
maybe there's truth in that.
Maybe
don't buy the ITV numbers. I know Hammy does good work trying to dig them out. I think he used to. I don't know if he still does anymore. But the way Meltzer interprets them, sometimes it's like, mate, clearly people have just gone to bed and left the telly on ITV2 or 4 or 7 or whatever number it's on these days.
He's got no idea what's on like ITV4 at the best of times, has he? As well, like he really hasn't. Like, I mean, because otherwise we'd have to explain to him what is the professionals and what is Minder. If that is the case, but these ticket sales,
you'd have takes about
they're good. Like this is so far, I think this is a good number. Like if you think about the clearance that TNA had, and they didn't do a number like this, and they had much bigger clearance in terms. Like I mean, I know
what was their record? I actually don't know. Was it higher than this?
Well, it was their record was their record 8,000.
Oh, right.
So they didn't sell out Wembley Arena. Like they did a good number in it, but I want to say it's like 8,000 or so. But this is the thing. If they're able to do this as well, and like I say, and hopefully then lead to a proper tour, where that avoids London, save that for All In, and just go and just do Newcastle, Nottingham, like Birmingham, do everywhere else around there as well. That would be something. But yeah, when they hit the 10K figure, that's a really good sign. Yeah, Wembley Arena, 8K plus.
That's 8K. Right, okay. It's funny that I remember it as better. I think maybe because it was the consistency of them doing so many shows. That was what was always impressing about TNA, going around the country. And, you gave me one earlier and said I was right. I'll give you one. You're right here that, like, doing that and going to a different part of the country, I think is attracting a different group of people, isn't it? I think maybe where I'd differ than you is obviously we've got Wembley coming up, so I don't think I'd do anything too close to that. But once this Wembley is done, you could probably do what has been your pipe dream, do that TNA, tour in the country, see if they can do what TNA did collectively when they run Birmingham, they'd run Scotland, they'd run Manchester, they'd run London.
March. If you're going to do it, it's like a little, you got 5, just beat the guts of 5 and a bit months. Yeah, do it as well. Counter program it with the idea of, here's some tickets for big time wrestling you can watch that's actually affordable, which appears to be like part of a thing that's being kind of said as there's been this
big time wrestling. That's All Stars website, isn't it? Big time wrestling. Tony could sign up to it. Like when Fludder registered WWEUK.com and it went to PCW's website. Like, is that what it was? It was either that or NXT UK or something like that. He registered,
mate. When he was running Overtake. Like on the days of takeovers, that was genuinely brilliant. It was like, honestly,
wasn't brilliant, but that was brilliant.
Nah, but it was Brian Potter-esque for how you'd how you deliver that stuff as well. So yeah, we haven't got an update on the Cardiff numbers, so maybe we'll get an idea of that. I mean, it's a lot less. I mean, I was expecting sort of 5, 6 for that, which again, compared to what they're doing in the US, absolutely fine. And then finally, in terms of the sort of AEW news, Eddie Kingston has been announced for an indie show. He's appearing for Beyond Wrestling, and it's November Canorana, I think it is, yeah, at Cranston, Rhode Island, November 14th. Hadn't got an opponent yet, but all the big guns on there. By big guns, I mean 3 MLW stars in Donovan Dijak, Shotzi Blackheart, and Mads Krull Kruger, and Bear Bronson's also in there as well. So yeah, he's going to be doing that. Should he be working indie dates? I mean, this kind of stuff fills me somewhat with a bit.
I think
fear.
he probably
Maybe
should
he needs to get the Rets in, but
yeah. I think in theory, no, but but also in theory, yeah, because it's Eddie Kingston and kind of comes from all that, and I think AEW should also keep its kind of ear to the ground, and maybe help and develop the scene, and being the goodie is probably better than WWE trying to kill in various scenes. I think that's probably good, but Eddie Kingston clearly needs it. He needs reps. He doesn't look himself right now. He doesn't look like he's, fair to say, fully in ring shape yet, or even just mentally all the way there as far as what you want to see from Eddie Kingston. I think it can only make him sharper. I guess the argument might be, should he have been doing this already? But then that would kind of blow his big return, wouldn't it? Not that they gave his return much stakes in the end either way, but still.
What's Ring of Honor for then? Because that would have been the place, weirdly, to do it. And it might have even drawn the odd subscriber who would have been intrigued to kind of see him back in there. And yeah, it would have been
after he comes back to AEW, though. I wouldn't give away the goose on that one.
Yeah, but I would agree with you that he does need reps, because you're looking at him and you're looking at a guy who, there's nothing to be enthused about this Hook thing. I'm just hoping Big Bill just ends up destroying Hook one week, which won't happen because Hook signed a new deal, and then Eddie goes, "You're my guy. You come along with me," because at least Eddie and Big Bill, I could get on sign and cut some promos with the two lads walking
as a
around
team.
the streets of New York.
If you have to put Eddie in a team,
I'll put him in a team.
Let's do that.
Why not? Just have them killed.
No, as a singles.
Hook and Brian Keith in one night.
This is AEW though, isn't it? There's so many wrestlers that everyone has to have a mate and everyone has to have a stable. And sometimes it's a positive too. It's a living, breathing world, unlike WWE. But the negative is, Brian Keith and Hook have to be stinking up the joint around them. Why can't Eddie and Big Bill? They should just keep having matches until they have a good one. Every time there's a shit one, we'll do it again. We'll do it again until eventually we get the match that I'm imagining and be up. Just bowl and shoe ugly. Let's go with that until we get the big match. We don't need the jobbers getting involved as well. But there you go. That's Eddie Kingston. And I was going to throw in as an finally story, JP. I don't know what you're. I don't know. It's a good segue into talking some WWE matters as well as Title Tuesday coming up. But we'll throw it in. Gail Kim, you've been following her hijinks this week, JP. Because if you believed it might be because AEW didn't offer her a job, or she was after a job with AEW and she didn't get it, which is what has been reported this week. Well, no. She tells you it's all lies, JP, because those dirty dirt sheets are lying liars. And she has clarified this week that she was actually approached by AEW about potentially wrestling and told them she was retired. I don't know how much I believe that. But obviously, this come from BJ Bethel. It was saying that she contacted AEW about coming in and wasn't answered. Obviously, she's disputing that now and has basically spent the entire week tweeting through it. And I feel like I've grown, JP, in time. I'm not really, but I was born and bred on Twitter, JP. But I don't live there anymore. And I can quote dunk culture, which I definitely have my part of over the years, and dare I say, got myself over at various points at the expense of lovely people like our good friend Michael Hampler, which was how we were introduced to each other. It was me dunking on some WWE take that he had at one point, and then we became great friends ever since. But the point is, I don't really like all that, and that's kind of what the week has been with Gail Kim. But she's also kind of earning it, and she also won't go away, and she's also doubling down and tripling down and going, oh well, Bully Ray said, or Vince Russo said, or she'll bring up all these, and obviously she's doing Busted Open and stuff like that, to the point where I don't think she actually believes anything she's saying. I think it's just pure rent 'em out stuff, isn't it, to get herself over, to like Benno in the mid 2010s and try and put her name out there and make sure she's part of the news cycle, because some of the shit she's coming out with, like the Rio comments and stuff like that, it was like, and then she's like, oh, well, I was talking about a match I saw her out 4 years ago, and it's like, okay, well, watch a recent match and make a decision based on that, because like a lot of the criticism about it being too small or whatever it is probably criticism people could have laid at you when you had matches with certain people in TNA and some of the actual memorable stuff we had through your career, or going on about, like, again, I'm not somebody who like, I disagree with two strong takes you see in wrestling world, JP. One of them is, if you haven't taken a bump, you can't have an opinion. Of course you can. Like, I'll take Dave Meltzer's opinion often over, like, Maven's top 5 wrestlers of all time that had fucking, what's his name in it? Like, just a load of shite, basically, he had in it this week, didn't he? He had, who was in there? King of the Indies, Matt Cardona was in his top 5 list of wrestlers of all time. Like, sometimes the wrestlers are wrong, but also at the same time, I always think it's a bit cruel when, like, Gail Kim says something you disagree with, and like, well, you can't have an opinion because I never liked any of your matches. And it's like, well, why can't Gail Kim have an opinion, but I can? When, you know, or like we can, or the bears can give it a shot on Twitter can. I think the end result I come to, JP, is everybody can have an opinion, and everybody should be ripped apart on the or boosted up on the quality of that opinion they had there. And her opinions, regardless of her experience, have been shite this week.
Oh yeah, I mean, her opinions have been shite, and she's clearly bullshitting about quite a bit of this stuff. AEW is a bit more on the pulse to not just bring in Gail Kim as a wrestler. They're well aware of the fact that she is retired. If they know who fucking Ace Austin and Kevin Knight are, I'm pretty sure they'd be aware that Gail Kim doesn't wrestle anymore. So that's not. And the Rio comment was just like, no, it feels like busted open bullshit, really.
Cornet bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lowest hanging fruit stuff.
Yeah, just stuff that's designed to kind of rile people. I mean, on the opinion front, it'd be, so the only stuff you can offer an opinion on is literally what your job is. So I could only talk about teaching, and everything else I have to go. Can't offer an opinion on politics. Why? Because I've never produced a piece of legislation on a local or national level. So therefore,
well, I mean, technically, JP, while I'm on my career break, wrestling is my job. So I think I'm allowed to talk about. I can say whatever I want. There you go. There's my career.
Exactly.
And I've taken a bump too. There's your proof that taking a bump doesn't make your opinion more valid. I've taken one, and I talk shit. So there you go.
If anything, the bumps are going to give you concussion, so your opinions are going to be a bit all over the bloody place after a while,
that's why.
isn't it? With that CTE.
That whole Regal episode, it was the concussions talking. Not just the fact he's never had a good match.
No, I see this stuff on there, and I see these matches, and I go, and I just think you've never watched these fucking matches, because I have, and they were dreadful. But that this is,
but you can have an opinion like anyone else.
With Gail Kim, I always think she's just been angling for a job in WWE. That's basically it. And if you want to get a job in WWE, you have to play this tribal game of like everything AEW is bad. Like that's the route you have to go down. And if you want the gig with Busted Open, that's the route you have to go down. And it's depressing and reductive. But seeing her do this as well, given how important she was. I mean, if you ask her opinions of who's a better wrestler, Ash by Elegance or Rio, I mean, she'd be banging the drum for Ash by Elegance all day. Of which I'll have to look at her and go, like, you got a drink problem? Is that the issue here? Like, I mean, it's just like a load of old nonsense there as well. And I just can't help feel that she's trying to position herself for a job at WWE, which she will end up getting, and she kind of should get. That's the role that she should end up being in as much as anything else, unless AEW were going to give her. I can imagine that she was offered a role, but it wasn't like a role with a significant amount of power, of which there'd be a good argument for bringing in a Gail Kim to be someone to kind of like on the wrestling side, being like help working with the women in AEW, because there is so much youth there that they could do with figures like that. And I know they've got like Madison Rain in there into the mix, but like Gail Kim has a lot more sort of credibility on that front.
Yeah. And again, you know, whatever you think of it in ring, me and Gareth was struggling to name, speaking of Regal, top 5 matches last week. But that point can remain. She still has experience and still, you know, knows the game, and I'm sure could give advice to young wrestlers if she's being serious and not, as Kenny Omega has said here, looking for that yearly TKO gift basket, which is clearly what's going on.
That's it. It's almost as bad as that bloke who worked in marketing, whose job appears to be just to try and tweet as much shit about AEW and how great WWE is all of the time. And it's
You have to be specific. There's a few of them, and Matty doesn't work in marketing.
I can't think of his name. He's worse than Matty. Honestly, he makes.
I know he's supposed to do the GRAPPL marketing, and he fucking can't even log into the Twitter account. I've given that one up. It was 18 months ago. What can you do?
God bless him. No, he's all right. He's looking good on it. He's wearing his WWE t-shirt. And that's the angry Matty in there, looking like a
Looks
Viking
better than me.
behind. Pure coincidence they gave him that, but even AI knew. No, there's only one bloke who's getting the WWE t-shirt.
Kind of looks well, though. In fairness to him, he does. He looks.
He does.
You like that. Anyway, moving on. While we're talking, obviously moving into some WWE matters. Obviously, it links to AEW though. Obviously, Title Tuesday is coming up next week. JP, let me just load up my calendar here. Obviously, we've got Title Tuesday coming up, so it's next Tuesday. It's October the 7th. Can't think of any news story that's like synonymous with October the 7th, JP. So I think what we should do is we should do a story, we should do a show and call it Invasion, because there's definitely not other things people are going to be Googling on October the 7th that have got to do with Invasion. And yeah, that's where it. What's up, WWE putting up against AEW next Tuesday, which again, if you're used to these spotlights sliding around, next week's spotlight will be a Wednesday show to cover the Tuesday Dynamite on NXT Invasion as the TNA lot of invaded, JP, and yeah, that's the obvious thing that is synonymous with those terms.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I mean, at least it isn't like NXT genocide. I mean, that would be a lot fucking like a lot more of a fucking issue, wouldn't it? There as well. Sorry, that will get us in trouble there.
Yeah, it should. Whoever it gets in trouble with can fuck off. They're wrong. We're right. Carry on.
Exactly. When you look at the I think the problem here is if you're asking me which one's going to do the better rating, I would quite confidently say NXT, but it won't have like in terms of just those basic cable ratings.
Dynamite ratings have been going up lately, though. No,
they have been going up. How I feel about those is I want to see if it does it over like an 8-week period. If it's gone up into that 600 to 700,000 range, then we know it's that classic case of like the business side of it being 6 months behind the creative side, and people have kind of like tuned in and they're sticking with it. I wouldn't have any good hopes for it. I mean, it would just be TNA getting a fucking kicking. So it will resemble the other invasion that happened in 2001, where there'll be someone from NXT.
2001.
Yeah. Oh,
anyway.
Yeah. God, because NXT are going to there'll be someone turning heel and joining TNA, and that'll be the big TNA win of the night. Yeah, but NXT is going to win that and piss all over them from a great height in there as well. I saw the brawl at the end of NXT. At the end of NXT.
Did you see the build up where they like through the show, like they just have like random TNA wrestlers just in the back of the shots because it's WWE though, and the way they shoot stuff. It was like the least subtle camera angles possible because nothing natural happens behind the people when they're talking because nothing is natural. To your point earlier about WWE's production, it made me laugh. Like it's. Oh, look, I will actually defend them. It's their night, and AEW, not through just want to fight, has to be on Tuesday this night every year. So, you know, if AEW coming to your night, if AEW coming tonight, you want to back yourself up and you want to put on something that's going to attract like a bigger viewership than normal. And you're right, I think AEW, it's been proven, hasn't it? Americans can't figure out when their channels change or nights change, even when it's on a service like Max. So yeah, the AEW rating probably gonna be in the mud on the Tuesday thinking about it. And yeah, if you do the side, if we're being fair, I think they've got every right to do this.
They do. This isn't counter programming. This is different, I think, because it is their night. They just loading up the show. I mean, they will load it up. They'll have
to the extent of it being NXT.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, for example, AJ Styles will make an appearance because it's home turf and they can tie it in with TNA and stuff like that. There'll be people who have ended up have been in
Tony
TNA.
Khan should do a hardcore homecoming type thing and just bring in all the actual TNA legends that WWE won't touch, you know? Who could he bring in? I was going to say Peter Williams. Shit, he works for WWE, doesn't he? Who's out there? Shark Boy. You can bring Shark Boy in, you know?
Yeah.
TNA legends. Amazing Red.
Jason Cross. Amazing Red.
Got Jerry Lynn right there.
Get Sonny Siaki out. Get him back into the mix. I know this because I did it on...
Flying Elvises, what are they doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's got Jeff. That's the biggest one. Like, of course he could do this.
fucking right. Jeff should be all over the title Tuesday. He should be challenging Hangman Page for the fucking title for that one, just to tie up that.
Remember when he was feuding with
storyline.
MJF? Remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
Jeffrey Raven, there you go, do a rematch.
With
put a
the
nod
right
for your show
ending.
with Andy Ogden this week.
Yeah, with the right ending. Because
I didn't agree with that being on shite. Only from memory, I haven't heard you yet, so I don't know what cases like, but I loved that at the time. I thought it was brilliant.
The booking is shite throughout the show, is what you see, but the actual wrestling itself doesn't fall really into the shite character category. It's just a lot of like very messy stuff in there. But have a listen to it on the Graps and Claps feed. For that.
I want to keep booking this TNA nostalgia show now. What else is the chat?
Oh yeah,
Jeff going over strong, Jeff Raven.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get Awesome
SEX.
Kong,
What's he doing?
SEX. Well, you got Christopher Daniels, haven't you? Get Loki out
That's
there
a problem
as well.
in it though. It's Loki in it. You'll want to win.
America's Most Wanted should be
Oh, yeah,
making
there
an
you go.
appearance. Just give Chris Harris a shirt to wear beforehand, because he is not the lads of 2003. But like that, I'd be well up for that.
I always
Not
like them
even-
more than Beer Money. Bobby Roode can fuck off.
Oh yeah, exactly. But I mean, very much again to use it, very much the Temu version of America's Most Wanted. There as well. But
Nah, Bobby was great. Bobby was. It's a shame his WWE run went the way it did. I always thought he could have been the good boots and trunks level WWE, wrestler. He never really they never got behind him the level you would think. A boring wrestler who wrestles exactly like Triple H would have got. I say that as compliments in some ways.
I mean, going by Unreal and then going by him sitting in Gorilla at WrestlePalooza as well, just sits around, stays silent, and just appears to get like quite a hefty paycheck for that. And he's just thinking, fuck me, he thinks he's living the dream with this type of stuff. But he just has to do these meetings at 3 a.m. with a group of fucking maniacs as fucking Triple H listens to stuff on there. Didn't even get into the Stephanie McMahon Hall of Fame announcement earlier on as well, which I laughed at. And I kind of agree, she should be there, but I hate the fact she's there. Like, I really do. And she'll headline the bloody thing.
It'll be a fun hate watch. He's getting it in before he gets sacked, isn't he? That's the plan. Obviously, before he goes the way of hammering by the end of the season. It's coming for Triple H. I still stand by that. I think Paul Heyman's waiting in the wings. That's the answer to the conversation last week. Who could you slide into the role? Who could be? Was it? Was it one of the island teams this week that lost the manager? Sorry, JP, only half pay attention to the Irish chat that happens in our group chats. But Heyman could be a great caretaker manager.
He could be. God, I didn't think I'd get into the.
He'd want the full job.
Manager on here. He would do on there as well. But the more
is he wrestlers Harry Redknapp? Is that what he is?
He is, isn't he? He basically, you'll bring him in and he'll do a job.
Big Sam.
And I'm trying to think.
No, he's better than Big Sam.
Who's his Nico Cranshaw? Who's his lad? Patrick Berger, who will just sort of sign no matter what. Jermaine Defoe. Yeah, he's a bit. I'm stunned on remembering them. But I was thinking there is some comparison, like Triple H and Ruben Amorim. There is a system. We aren't changing from it. We can change whichever wrestlers appear on the main shows. Don't make a blind bit of difference. This is the system. We're sticking to it. Had success at a much smaller place beforehand in Sporting Lisbon, but like, what fucking difference does that make? It's like,
and when Nia Jax blows a spot, he's stuck there. But it's just a shaking mess.
My God. Which they've completely cut out of the YouTube version for that. I had to sully my Netflix feed
Poor Jade.
looking for that on there. So, oh my God, yeah. But the Nia Jax, it's just like, when will they just get rid? Even though, it's related to The Rock. Cool, get rid. Like, that would be a real test.
He said that was this week about her daughter. She's done it all herself. I had nothing to do with me. Done what? Been crap and continued to be on TV. I think there's a reason she's still on TV, Dwayne. I think it might be because she's a daughter. Anyway, sorry, we got sidetracked there. There isn't really much to say about SmackDown when it comes to the week's WWE TV, and obviously Raw is tonight. On the NXT front, I threw it. I had no mercy to the dog. Don't worry, JP, I wasn't expecting a match-by-match takedown or review. The news is far more interesting out of WWE to get into in a minute, as well as some New Japan we got to talk as well. But got a note that obviously, it seemed like a bit of a non-event. No mercy this weekend, but Ricky Starks, new NXT champion. Apparently, I haven't seen it. Jordan Grayson, but Blake Monroe was apparently very good as well. JP, I don't know if you saw it. I was fitting in. I had a choice that'll fit in New Japan today. Fitted in New Japan. So there we go. But and he takes on that, and he takes on Starks being the man to lead NXT into this invasion versus versus AEW. Apparently, he was misused and mishandled in AEW, according to some very simplistic tweets I've seen doing the rounds today. Which is like, I don't think when it comes to Ricky Starks, neither side is true. Like, it is absolutely not true that AEW didn't like book him well at times. They absolutely did, and he worked Bryan Danielson, he worked CM Punk, and he had plenty of opportunities to get over. Also, a lot of those pushes were short-lived, and he disappeared off telly, and there wasn't a consistency there that, you know, was worthy of, like, fuck, he was tag team with Big Bill for a while, wasn't he? Remember that? That was a lot of fun. Like, that went nowhere.
Was great.
There was a lot of mini runs that went nowhere. And whether it's his fault or the company's fault or whatever, I think both things are kind of true there. He had a shot. It just wasn't a big enough shot. But, they're going with him in NXT now. The top guy. For whatever that means.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Like, what does it mean? Because Ethan Page had that title not that long ago. And he's a mid-card champion there as well.
None of them ever make it to the main roster, are they?
No.
He's never joining Cody. Him and the three of them are never having a segment with Cody on the SmackDown, are they? Booked by the Road Dogg.
Maybe in 5-6 years' time, when they're all fucking too knackered to be able to do it anymore, and he's just angling for a job backstage at that stage. But yeah, what I took from that was Obafemi's getting called up to the main roster, as he should do, really. Like, I mean, for what they want out of a wrestler, he ticks those boxes. I'm assuming the match was completely bang average. I mean, I did hear good things about the Jordan Grace Blake Monroe. It was a cage match, wasn't it? It was a weaponized cage match, I think, in there. But I didn't manage.
I'm rooting for Blake Monroe. I wanted to turn it around. I wanted to go well for him.
I'm probably more rooting for Jordan Grace. I had just
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, Jordan Grace, I think it just adds something entirely different. I think the thing that the Blake Monroe character, if there is one per se, I'm just wondering how soon it is before they just sort of scrap it and go back to kind of what is effectively Mariah May, just under the name Blake Monroe. And maybe they're doing that at the minute, but it doesn't, like, it feels like there's a fair whack of work to go on there. But yeah, I mean, Chris says here in the chat, should be on, like, for Obafemi answering Sami Zayn's open challenge and winning. Like, because particularly if you're wanting to get Sami Zayn potentially ready for a Royal Rumble win and a match at Mania, like, I mean, then you want to get the US title off him soon enough, put it onto Obafemi and just sort of strap him up. He's a big bloke. He wrestles short matches. You'll get that sort of that moment and that pop bit, which is all they really care about. And he ticks those kind of boxes. For Ricky Starks, it would suggest he's going to be in NXT for at least another year. And I don't think he's going to have any more success than what Ethan Page did. The NXT, I mean, I don't even think Obafemi's been able to do a lot with the NXT title because it's there because they kind of have to have a champion. But it doesn't feel like it's like a big
Obafemi should be a guaranteed win on the main roster. And he's just not, is he? He's just not. Because, like, you can imagine them booking him into oblivion week one. It's a shame.
Or just having him in the background in a stable. Like whether he ends up in the Vision or something along those lines. I don't think that, which sounds awful, I know, but he should just come up and be just come up and be a killer. And if that's what they do with it, but I looked at even the attendance for this, and it was like less than 1,500, which is this strange thing. We talk about TV ratings and stuff. It was in Fort Lauderdale. Now I don't know if it's just an absolutely tiny arena, but this is the thing for NXT is it feels almost resemblance of what TNA was at one point, rather ironic given the circumstances. That whatever the TV number is, and that looks good, when it comes to people in the buildings, they're not drawing particularly well at all. And I know people say that for Dynamite for TV, but when it comes to the pay-per-views, they're doing between 8,000 to 10,000 regularly.
It's almost a pretend company, isn't it? Because they're not even paying them well, are they? Like, literally, came out this week, didn't they? What, 60 grand or something like that is the NXT UK equivalent wage that some of these lower level NXT wrestlers are on.
Exactly. God, 60k. Is that fucking been dropped on your head? Like, Jesus Christ.
What's that in pounds? Like 40 grand pound-wise?
Probably a bit more. I'd probably say about 45. But then you think about, I know they
to live in America and to travel and to be a wrestler and pay for everything.
None of your expenses being paid as well. It's like fucking hellfire to do that job and work for those.
For like, exactly, and it's not like it's a 50-year career either, is it? Like, where it tots up over time, you get a pension. Fleeting.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very fleeting in there. So, everything's expensive over there, and because of tariffs, it will get a lot more expensive very soon. There's just me trying to goad in Trump voters into the.
Well, speaking of which, to get into the news,
yes,
there's a few news stories related to that one that just came through at press time.
There is indeed, and this is it should say it's from WrestleNomics as well. But John Laurinaitis has been deposed, and Vince McMahon's assistants have been subpoenaed in the shareholder lawsuit as well. Now, just to be kind of
two different cases, to be clear. Yeah, I misread this when I first read it, but it is two different cases.
Exactly. Now, in terms of the this is from various sort of minority shareholders who allege that McMahon had already decided to merge WWE with UFC under the Endeavor banner,
and was never going to take any other offer, no matter how big or small. Yeah,
he was never going to do this, and this was because of his friendship with Ari Emanuel as well, and that because of the scandal, the plaintiffs are saying that they wouldn't have agreed for him to stay on there into the mix as well at the same time. And obviously, it's a case where it's going to be like everything has been completely lawyered up. And this is a case that feels it's very overshadowed in comparison to obviously the Janelle Grant case, particularly because that's a lot more harrowing. We're talking about sort of disgruntled shareholders that are kind of into the mix. It is the third case that's ongoing with WWE at the moment in terms of this one, the Janelle Grant one, and the Ring Boy lawsuit, which is going on in Maryland, which I know they're
think Triple H has read any of them
thrown out at the same time. That they don't exist in his head. He's just switching off.
Subpoenaed in this one, so you better fucking read it.
And that is it, isn't it? It's just like, you know, he is going to be subpoenaed into the mix. It's going to be interesting what they end up asking him, because I think in some ways what I sort of took from this is because of the timing of all of this happening, it's going to be hard for stuff not to come out about the Janelle Grant case as well, and it having perhaps that residual effect. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Why did Triple H and Stephanie and the rest of the other nameless people who are on here, you know, not back, you know, Vince coming back to the board, and then why did they unanimously agree when Vince did bring himself back in? Like, what was the conversation there? What was the back and forth? What were the threats? You know, what led to the you know, all of those changes in appeal and all those swings in position, even from Nick Khan included there as well. And you're right, it was all because of the Janelle Grant case going on. So clearly, there's going to be stuff in there that obviously the Janelle Grant's side and Callis and that are going to be very interested in.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see what ends up happening with that over the sort of like the next few months as well. And these being shareholder lawsuits, you'd imagine that they're willing to let this go long in the meantime. AJ Styles, as is said, he is certain to retire within the next year. Bullshit. Sorry. But he said he's made his cryptic social media post of an hourglass running out in there as well. He has now claimed in an interview with Tokyo Sports that he plans to retire within the next year. Said the upcoming trip to Japan will probably be the last time he ever wrestles in the country there as well. That he plans to retire in 2026. Said he'll probably be at WrestleMania there as well. He's 48 years old. And he is someone who, even when he was when he signed with WWE, had almost kind of made noises that he was not going to be around for a really long time. There was a point of like, I'm cashing in with this company now. I'm going to be an absolute workhorse, which he did. And then for a long, long time, I think he earned like one of the years he was earning like sort of like, certainly like multiple millions, like around $3 million, because he was headlining so many of the house shows when house shows were much more of a thing, simply because he was the guy who was always around. Obviously, he's facing John Cena at Crown Jewel Perth, which always sounds really weird if that's in Perth and not in Saudi Arabia. That's October 11th. And then he's going to be at Sumo Hall for the shows 17th and the 18th of October as well.
Yeah, it's like if this is it for him, it's like we talked about on the AJ show we did. We'll put it out for free. If he does actually retire, we'll throw it on the free feed. But for the time being, while he's still going, get it on the Patreon and give it a listen. We said that like he earned it, didn't he? He earned having a 3.5-star WWE run where you know he just has he's that safe set of hands that WWE rely on and has that run. And I think for him personally, I think not being a wrestling fan growing up, I think a big part of it is the fact that I think he always just sees WWE as like the professional company because he worked for TNA for so long, and he probably does hear this horror stories a little bit about the backstage environment of AEW and all that. Like he doesn't. I think people have fantasy booking. Oh, he'll be done with WWE and they'll have one more work rate year in AEW. I don't think he's built like that anymore. I think I think he'd rather be in his mind, like Punk, in the top company, being paid well and just kind of being able to do what he does than trying to go out and prove something. Because to be fair, he doesn't have to prove anything at this point. So yeah, if he does go out, that'd be fair enough.
What else is there left to achieve? He was a champion in New Japan. He was a champion in WWE.
Which none of us saw coming, as we talked about.
No,
you know.
Exactly. And he's, and he, like I say, had those massive matches. And so there's a point where, and you get the impression that he's pretty spendthrift. And he's not a guy who would have been spending loads of money in the meantime as well. So, yeah, like it wouldn't surprise me that'd be the case. And there's a convention circuit as well. But somewhere he won't be ending up is Zuffa Boxing, which is also going to Paramount in 2026. And ergo Paramount Plus, a subscription service I still refuse to subscribe to because I'm not that into Yellowstone. Sorry. That appears to be that and NCIS and stuff like that. In the meantime, it's a 5-year deal. This obviously is the sort of big third strand of TKO behind UFC, behind WWE. UFC has obviously signed this massive deal, $7 billion deal to go on 7.7 billion, I should say, to go onto Paramount, which I'll never make that money back in there as well. And they're going to go onto there as well at the same time. It's linked in with the Saudis, which is why clearly they did this for the Canelo versus Crawford fight that was on Netflix recently as well. So yeah.
Just an avenue for Nick Khan to wet his beat, mate. That's what it is. That's what
exactly. Him to sit there all alone like he's Pablo Escobar back in the day. This one, massively fascinated by this story. Drew McIntyre has landed a role in the Highlander remake alongside Dave Bautista as well. This is the reboot of Highlander, a series that actually I don't mind it having a reboot. Those films aren't perfect. If you don't believe me, go back and watch them, honestly. Particularly the second one is fucking awful.
I love the second one as a kid, but when you're a kid, you don't know better, you know? I just thought it was cool. Get swords.
Exactly. That was it. And it starts off at Madison Square Gardens at the beginning, but it's like the NWA wrestling there because Michael Hayes is wrestling there, which makes no fucking sense. It's directed by Chad Stahelski, who I believe directed the John Wick films, or certainly a couple of them as well. So this is a very, very sort of, highly thought of action director. It's got Henry Cavill in the Christopher Lambert role from back in the day, Russell Crowe in the Sean Connery role, Dave Bautista, he plays the bad guy, the Kurgan. He's the lead villain in there, played by Clancy Brown. You
reminded me two things now, because obviously we're going to talk about on the pre-show. We've teased it. We'll talk one battle after another on that. But did you see the kid in the Latino Heat t-shirt? And his literal character name was Latino Heat. Like that, we need to talk about. But also this week, I watched the Naked Gun reboot on Netflix. I was just, I'd watched something else, and I was just like, I need something easy that I can throw on for another hour. I didn't think much of it, to be honest, but it was fine. It was what it was. But the fucking amount of wrestlers in that. Cody Rhodes is in it. Fucking your boy Walter Hauser is in it, which I almost got a jump scare when he walked out in there. Batista's in it as well. Like he turned up in a scene too. After the second half of the film takes place in the WWFC, I think they call it. Wasn't Miz supposed to be in that at one point? I swear he was. I didn't spot him. But I was thinking, did I miss any other wrestlers?
Thank God.
Jesus. Cody Rhodes and Walter Hauser, though, with Paul Walter Hauser in the same film. Mate. That's going to be on his list, isn't it?
The Cody Rhodes scene seems to have gotten a bit of viral traction as well in there, just for the conversation he has with him about his brother as well. I won't do the whole spiel about the scene, and I enjoyed Paul Walter Hauser giving out drinks to children at the end. No idea.
It could have been any actor, couldn't it? It was so strange. Yeah. It was like, of the WWE and this, like Nick Khan and that pulled a favour in to get Cody this role. Like, could have been just a young lad playing a barman who doesn't have a weird neck tattoo. He was fine. It just didn't really, make any impression. Was it a cameo? I guess. Would anyone recognise him? I don't know.
It was like, and it was a dark scene because it's like in a nightclub as a barman.
Like they were trying to hide the tattoo. It felt like to me, even had like a button-up shirt, like went up to right about here with my
and a big wig on it.
These days.
Yeah, it's like it's all a bit mad. I mean, I don't know. My big takeaway is it was just the argument that I had with Vicky afterwards, where I was saying, "Oh, Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson together," and she was going, "No." Basically, her argument was that's a work, and I was like, "No, Liam needs to find love. His wife died on the ski slopes, if you remember." Which sounds like I'm taking the piss,
and they do have chemistry.
They do have chemistry there as well, and there are bits in it. It doesn't make you laugh out loud massively, but I did smile at certain bits. Like I did.
Pammy's elite acting career has been fun. There was a film I watched the other week. Sorry, we're now a film podcast. She played like an agent stripper. I can't remember the name of it.
The Last Show.
It was terrible. Yeah. The film just ends halfway through, and it's like, I feel like there was another hour there. She's brilliant though, and she was great in that too. And she's a wrestling legend, so it relates. She's a WWE Hall of Famer. She probably is. Should be from me.
Fucking should be. William Shatner is, and Christ above, why isn't she? Oh yeah,
Jenny McCarthy, big times. But yeah,
that's who they need to.
Another way you'd imagine.
That's what AEW need to do. Just get Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson sat front row for no other reason than you can do there as well. But back to this.
Celebrities.
Drew McIntyre's role, I should say, is he's the brother of he's playing Angus MacLeod. He's the brother of Henry Cavill, which kind of makes sense, but it won't be probably a big role. But then I never saw that film where he plays an assassin. And
do you think he'll put on a stronger Scottish accent? You know, the way he does a very American accent with the T's and D's now. Do you reckon he's going to be like reaching into his youth, like me? Like when I'm back home for a couple of weeks in January, I'll be leaning into my old Scouse ways.
I don't think he's going back. I don't think he's going full blown train spotting. If that's what you mean, like as well, they have to use subtitles like they did in the club, like between the two lads when they're having a chat. Like I'd love to see him do that. I mean, God, if he's ever going to start doing his like proper accent, this is the film role that he's there to do as well. And it's hard not to think I could imagine him in the lead role for this. So yeah, good luck to him.
Sorry, trigger.
No worries. And
speaking
finally,
of celebrities,
WrestleMania performer and co-star of Happy Gilmore 2, Bad Bunny,
future Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, definitely will be a future Hall of Famer. Is headlining the Super Bowl 60. Is that right? Is that what LX is? I should know this. I actually did Latin in school.
I used to know them, but I think I only went up as far as WrestleMania, so my knowledge wasn't that good. What's that?
It feels like it should be for that. Somebody tell us in the chat if it is. But yeah, he is going to be headlining. This is at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California as well, which I think is where the 49ers play as well. And yeah, he's obviously he's going to be there. That's a massive fucking deal. And there's a fair amount of pressure considering the buzz that the Kendrick Lamar performance got last year. I don't know what Bad Bunny can end up saying.
Did you see that, mate? This is more mainstream. This is the thing. He's a fucking gigantic star. And like we had to eat that crowd, didn't we? When he first turned up to do, who's this knobhead? Oh, right, one of the most popular rappers / singers in the entire world. Yet he's headlining the Super Bowl, lads. I think that tells you exactly the level of star that he is. He's another one. He should be your Paul Walter Hauser. Why does he bother his time with wrestling when he sells this many albums and he's this big a name? Just fucking loves it, doesn't he?
When I see Bad Bunny like working a big time wrestling show in front of 50 people for like 50 quid.
That's true, actually.
Complaining about the
WrestleMania progress, you know.
Yeah. No, when he's doing that would be the thing. I mean, my hope is if he's going to go full blown Kendrick Lamar, he just rips his shirt open. And it just says, "Where's the Epstein files?" Just on a t-shirt there as well. Just throws that out there. That would be fucking awesome in there. So yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And finally, JP, I have to throw this one in just for you. You remember Vince McMahon's birthday bash? Well, it's come out since. Obviously, we've had Godfather's talked about it. I think there's been a couple of other people who clearly didn't sign NDAs, but probably should have at this party telling stories about what it was like. You had to put your phone in a bag, all weird stuff like that. Well, apparently Vince gave these busts that we've got pictured here to all of the guests that came to this thing. Fucking like terrifying stuff. Egomaniacal, like Yeah, it's one of those like, are we the baddies type stuff. Like if like a character did this in a film, you'd be very clear it wouldn't be Superman. It would be the baddie that Superman's trying to fight. But apparently Vince McMahon saw fit that he wanted busts of himself to be given out to all of the 100 odd guests that went to his thing. Apparently at his 80th birthday party, the one at is it the Baccarat Hotel? Apparently is where it was. Yeah, they were all given one, and there'll be some of these showing up at eBay soon. I'm pretty sure, JP. And my question is, are you going to be buying one?
I wouldn't buy it. If somebody gave me one, I could do with a pissing post. So
be a good background for your podcast setup, you know.
I mean, I nearly said like a very off-color joke, but I think I'd just use it to put it in the back. I'd use it to stick.
Is that supposed to be
garden.
Linda next to him? What's the one next to him? What even is that?
That's just like a fucking Roman empress.
Like
what
Caesar or something. It looks like Linda McMahon.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw this story, I thought, well, he's changed. Clearly, in the time he's been outside the spotlight, he's thought and reflected and thought about himself. No, who wants that for like your birthday? You give out a statue of yourself to the guests. Oh, fucking hell! The level of egotism that requires. And like I say, the most worthwhile use is for my dog to take a piss on it when I need to release him about 4 times during the day because he's quite old.
Careful, Brock Lesnar will be turning up round your house.
Oh, that was the route I was worried about going down on there as well.
Sorry.
Poetic justice. But yeah, this is what he's like. I mean, fuck me, the level of egotism. Just dump it. You just be like, I don't want this in the house. Because it's like, what are you going to say? Particularly if all of the other stuff comes to trial and you've got that in your house as well. Again, it would be like the equivalent of, oh yeah, here's my statue of Jeffrey Epstein that's in my fucking house for no other bloody like Jesus Christ. What else do you want? Like, what other fucking like evil figures from history? I mean, like, I joke a lot about serial killers.
You know he's a Hitler guy. Vince is definitely a Hitler guy.
I haven't got a portrait of Peter Sutcliffe and Rose West on my fucking walls, have I? Like, I mean, I'm not going that far. Jesus Christ, like, absolute fucking mentalist this bloke is. Walter says it, lunatic behaviour. Yeah,
agreed.
Absolutely.
Imagine if Vince got a hold of AI. But anywho, moving on. I thought you'd enjoy that story, JP. There's definitely something that could be done with that bust on us. Maybe there's some grapple busts for my pre-show on Wednesday. Maybe we can do that as I give you more grief. But anyway, moving on.
AI will sort that out for you if you ask it to.
It won't. It will make it worse. Moving on, as the universe. Moving on. Fucking hate AI. New Japan, the destruction in Kobe. We've obviously got some related news to talk about, as well as some other stuff going on around the wrestling world. I know you've been catching up on some Noah as well, and I guess we'll mention TNA. I did promise it, but did you? What of Destruction in Kobe did you manage to catch? You were saying earlier, top end of the show, I'm guessing, because that's what I saw.
Yeah, pretty much like the top end, and there were bits of it that it wasn't like I was realistically I was squeezing it in before watching today. So Zack Narita, Gabe Shingo, Suji Finley. The tag, which I enjoyed because I don't know what to make of this Yuto Ice character at all. But I've just gone, he's young and he's different, so fuck it. Like, that was my kind of attitude. So it was
like the bandana.
Yeah.
Very Tupac in the 90s. Yeah, big fan.
It really is. He's got the gold teeth in there as well, the lad. But saw that, and then I watched the bit where Kaito Kiyomiya came out at the after the Tanahashi match. For him to have a match at Noah's big show in Sumo Hall that's happening on, I want to say it's October 11th as well, so the same day as Crown
Tanahashi could do the funniest thing and just smack him around. That could be a way to go.
Yeah, that's it. Has he wrestled in a Noah ring? I mean, I think he has done when he was a lot younger. Yeah, when they did
something recently, didn't he? One of the crossover shows, I'm sure he did.
Oh, it feels like he must have done. I have a feeling he did it quite early doors, in and around like 2008, 2009. But yeah, it's. I mean, God knows, Kiyomiya should be going over on this. But there's another point I'll raise with some of this stuff. I also watched the junior match between Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori that was him defending.
I didn't bother with that because I could just picture that with my eyes closed and tell you exactly how that went. 3.5 stars, am I right?
Yeah. Basically, it was.
Would have been better 5 years ago, am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Weirdly, given how good he was, and it probably says a lot about Carl Fletcher, given how good he was against Carl Fletcher at Forbidden Door, there wasn't this here. And Taiji Ishimori was trying hard, but like he wasn't like he just sort of looked quite past it by comparison, because Taiji Ishimori is quite a bit older, but is in such great shape.
He's been around for a long time, and in a lot of places you wouldn't associate him with. He'd be a fun mixtape. He's like the Forrest Bump of Japanese wrestling.
He really is, isn't he? He's been absolutely everywhere. So yeah, that's the stuff I saw in there as well. But what did you make of it, mate?
Yeah, nothing made a huge impression. Like, I'm with you. I really enjoyed the Knockout Brothers. Like, there was just something about them. Like, they just feel raw. Like, obviously, Oscar Lube, is that his full name? Or just Oscar, capital letters now?
Just rather than Lube.
Sorry. I've read it out too many times on Weekend Show. He's got a very... that could be something else, couldn't it? Speaking of those parties. Anyhow, back on track. He's got, like, the look of, like, somebody do the beard really, like, hasn't he? Like, and we've always said that about him, and like, yeah, he just feels like something different in like in a New Japan ring, and obviously Ito Ice, same thing, offers something very different as well. So first time obviously seeing this team, really enjoyed them as a team, and I thought Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii is like they got like a bromance going on where they both they just they're a team who'll do anything for each other and will die for each other, and it's a perfect role for an Ishii at this point. And Taichi is someone who obviously in the last 5 years or so we've very much come round on. I really enjoy their combinations as a team, and he got a little bit overhyped before I saw it. I saw people saying something like, you got to run to see this match. It's this great match. And it wasn't. It was just a really good, fast-paced, less than 15 minutes like match, that both teams look good, and it had a surprising result in it that to be fair, I've been spoiled on that the match was good. I actually hadn't been spoiled on the finish, so it was a bit of a surprise for me to see the Knockout Brothers go over it. It felt fresh. It really did. Felt like a bit of breath of fresh air on a New Japan show, and maybe that's why people were praising it so highly.
I completely agree with that. I think it's just a new dynamic of, here's some young guys. They've come back from excursion, and effectively they've been given the tag belts. The tag belts have been in stasis for the longest period of time, even though this Ishii Taichi team is a lot of fun to watch, and it's the best use of certainly of Ishii at this point in his career. Taichi probably could have some later kind of slightly going upper mid cards, like
there's still a bit more
at some stage. There's a bit more in the tank, but that's a perfectly good role. But the idea of this, of just get over a new team, a new act, and with like, because they were building up the whole thing about him being like Street Fighter on commentary and stuff like that, and it's just this idea of like Japanese bad boy, and it was just kind of like, all right, this is novel. And they're not half bad, and they've teamed together a lot. And they were bringing up on commentary was actually a lot of like WXW that they've been there as well. So I just enjoyed. They're not there. They're very raw, but at least it feels like this is the proper step in the right direction of what New Japan need to do.
Put the belts on
across the board.
You got to go with someone. It might not work, but you got to try, and that's the thing we kind of got to. Sometimes when stuff like this can fall flat on its face, you've kind of got to remember that as a wrestling fan, haven't you? You got to give people a go, and they're giving them a go. I'm into it. Like I say, I skipped Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori. I did watch Yota Tsuji, David Finlay, and Gabe Kidd, Shingo. Both pretty good matches. I thought Gabe Kidd and Shingo was long. It's probably my biggest take on that one. A lot of the brawling around and stuff like that. It took its time, didn't it? But a strong Gabe Kidd win, I'm fine with, and obviously pairs with the Yota Tsuji match. In that, obviously, we're going in that direction again with Tsuji coming out afterwards. And to be fair, Yota Tsuji and David Finlay was better than I expected. And David Finlay, that's been the story of David Finlay in 2025. It's like, again, whether it's the overall water level coming down or what, he's been very, very reliable on these New Japan shows. And the thing that makes me be kind of go, all right, I'll give that a chance, is when it's Yota Tsuji or it's Gabe Kidd in an interesting match on a New Japan card. And David Finlay's kind of slotting into that with me now as well, where it's like, all right, I'll take him as the other guy in there, because him and Tsuji had good chemistry, and he did the job, which he should have. But he put over Tsuji well in the context of it too. So yeah, I enjoyed his work there.
And because it's a long running feud that him and Tsuji have had. Like, you can just tell that there's just that, like, they work well together. It's something that's it's quite, it's good chemistry, and eventually, and you never know if they put the title on Yota Tsuji, which sounds like a mad idea that they wouldn't, but if they put the
you come back to it,
on Yota Tsuji, you go back to it, and you know that that's a decent enough match, and that there's enough goodwill from the crowd for it to be there as well. I don't know what the attendance was for this, because it looked like a better crowd than what they've normally had. 4,000, yeah, 4,500 for this. That's a, like, in modern day New Japan, that's all right.
Well, that's because Ren Narita's a mega draw in the main event. Or maybe it was Shingo. We'll give it to Shingo. Obviously, was again, you add him into the mix, and I'm fine with it. With Shingo being the other guy, even at this point in his career, with Gabe Kidd. Zack Sabre Jr. and Ren Narita, though, was the shit. I mean, it's funny, like these like interference laden New Japan main events when you get Ren Narita and this gang of gobshites involved. Like, we all know, we say the line, like, we all know, we all hate it, we're never going to like it. But I think people have been more accepting of it. Like, okay, there's degrees of how bad it can be, and like the bits of comments I've seen on this show going, there wasn't too much of the nonsense interference in it, therefore it was on the lower level of bad. It's like, nah, it's still bad though, innit? Like, it's still like a complete waste of Zack Sabre Jr.'s time to no real heat that's drawing anybody any money, unless, again, you want to give the the attendance here a nod for those lads. But yeah, wasn't for me, mate. And yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. went over, and as he should, strongly going into King of Pro Wrestling.
That's it. I think it's part of the problem with this match. As you go, the result is just never in doubt, but you just know you're gonna have a bad time, and it's nearly half a fucking hour. To the point I did put it on 1.75.
You don't need to see that. Just watch the previous 3 matches we mentioned there.
Yeah. Don't bother your ass, because as soon as Sonata came in, as soon as he walked in, I went, "Oh, fuck off with you."
Literally sleepwalked in is what he did.
Absolutely, just dreadful shit. And I watched Oleg Boltin versus Bad Luck Fale, just fucking out sheer masochism, and at least that was like basically 6 minutes long or something along those lines. And I thought. And that was fucking dog shit. And it just to build to Oleg Boltin versus Evil. So God knows what he's done wrong there as well. But just Ren Narita, there was a point in time, I never thought he was going to be the guy, but I thought he'd have a clearly defined role as their Shibata clone. And we are a world away from that stuff. And it's just the complete lack of interest in him. And he just, after this, it was just like, let's just get to King of Pro Wrestling and have done with it, really. But yeah, New Japan is still going to New Japan, and they're not going to get anywhere until they get rid of House of Torture. But that's just it's preaching to the converted, saying it on here. It's just a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, watch old man Shingo as the put over versus Gabe Kidd. Good story told there. Watch David Finlay, Yota Tsuji, and watch the tag. That's kind of what you need to see. But again, I like the positive signs of like they are all the guys you want to see in the spots here, and you got them here. And like you didn't even get like I go against it, but like Great-O-Khan losing to Tanahashi again. The card kind of made me laugh. I was like, you know what, Tanahashi should lose every match on this retirement tour. He should win some of them, and when it's against someone like a Great-O-Khan who's never going to be more than a Great-O-Khan, I think that's fine. You can do that. Save the wins for those other guys we just mentioned at the top end of the card. But yeah, obviously set up King of Pro Wrestling. I don't know whether I should be gutted or not, GP, but like when we booked our Tokyo trip, like we had to book it early. We had to book Steph's flights to Bangkok and then separately book the Tokyo flights, and obviously flight prices go up, so we had to do it early. And we did it. We've ended up flying out to Japan the week after King of Pro Wrestling, and also the week after WWE Run Sumo Hall as well, which would have been a unique experience to be there. I get to be there, JP, at the start of the Junior Tag League thing that's going on at the end of the year. The opening Korakuen show, that was the one I've got my eye on. I'm thinking I might go to. It's on the Thursday night when we're there, and then there's one on the Friday. They're doing back-to-back nights. So I've got 2 chances of going to Korakuen there. And also, I think it's Noah and All Japan are both running Korakuen that week. Big Japan are running in Nepal. I might go to that as well. We'll see. Don't obviously want to go to some wrestling stuff there, but we also want to experience Tokyo in the week we're there. But I am slightly gutted I'm not there for King of Pro Wrestling. Just like I say, it wasn't. I don't believe it was on the calendar for this date at the time we booked it all that time back, or maybe I didn't do my research enough. But now looking at it, it's like, yeah, it's not a bad little lineup there. Obviously, we've got the top end of the card, obviously with our boy Konosuke Takeshita against Zack Sabre Jr., which was obviously on top of Zack's mind at the end of the show this weekend. Gabe Kid Yota Tsuji obviously set up as well. Knockout Brothers versus Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino, but no leg against Evil. All right, I could do without that. El Fantasmo against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yo Yoshihashi and Goto, with Goto returning. That's actually buried the lead there versus TMDK. They had E Honda himself. Drill Maloney versus Sonada, and then the Shingo Hiromu and Titan versus the War Dogs on that show as well. But top end of the card, Sumo Hall as well. I do kind of wish I was there. I could have gone to Sumo Hall twice in a week, JP, and saw New Japan and WWE in the same week. Instead, I'm going to be hanging around outside the Tokyo Zone trying to get Oasis tickets. We done goofed.
Well, if you get those Oasis tickets, that blows everything else out of the water as well. Yeah. And to be honest,
and again, there's nothing we could do. Did we announce their show really late as well? They only announced they were going to Tokyo 6 weeks ago. That might be I don't know if that affected the King of Pro Wrestling date or what, but yeah, there we go.
Imagine the prices they'll charge over there as well. They will be absolutely shocking for this in there as well. But I'd say going to see Noah at Korakuen sounds like a really good shout, just given that they've been on a good run of good attendances in Korakuen. They very much kind of settled into running Korakuen on the reg. So I feel like you get a good atmosphere. And that opening night at the junior tag will probably be a bit of fun. But this, like I say, those top three matches, if they are going to be the sort of selling points, go to the tag team tag belts, and you go Yuma and Shota Umino being put together, if that can be an extended feud, and I could see them playing a bit of switcheroo with the titles there. I don't necessarily. I think that's all right. That's not a bad way to go. Gabe Kid Yota Tsuji, that feels like that's going to be a what I'd like to see happen is Yota Tsuji win it, and then when he challenges for the world title, they just merge the titles and just get rid of this global heavyweight title, because I don't know. They've not done as well with that. And then like you say as well, the Zack versus Takeshita, that's the one to kind of focus on. I'm fully expecting a Takeshita win and him headlining the Dome. It's just, is that where they pull the trigger on the Okada match? I mean, that's kind of, it's almost like, and they're doing a Wrestle Kingdom press conference. I think I saw that on New Japan World.
Yeah,
well. That's
when I was on New
Japan
World well before, I saw it there. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow.
And
tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see when they actually when they get if there's what is going to be announced for that as well, and what they do with it. But it feels like a kind of as much of a big time show as they can do. What the attendance will be, God knows, because you're trying to guess what the enthusiasm is for a Japanese audience in New Japan. And I think I brought it up as like a talking point about this. I'm expecting there to be some Noah stuff that's happening on as well around this, because just the presence of the various people so there was Aita came out at the Destruction show after the match and attacked Hiromu, and then you had Kaito Kiyomiya coming out there as well. Obviously Oiwa was on loan there as well at one point, and it just made me feel like, and the fact that they're willing to do these kind of trades and whatnot, it makes me feel like that relationship.
Who are those you think would mix best with New Japan? Obviously more invested than me, and Noah, who's shown promise, who's the who are the top mid carders right now, who are the people that who are in feuds that you could tie into stuff going on in New Japan?
Azawa would be the one. Now he's injured, so how long he's out for is the big thing. But Azawa would be the one. Azawa has been this massive breath of fresh air. I mean, the problem is at the minute is it's Kenta, and what I don't want is New Japan Kenta. At least Noah Kenta seems like he gives much more of a shit, and because it's Noah, and it's a slightly different presentation of the character. But what you'd want to see is some degree of parity, because I think what was so disappointing about the stuff that they did with Noah before was just Noah getting squashed and New Japan kind of having that real ego about them. I just don't think beggars can be choosers this time round, and I don't think New Japan are in a position to kind of big brother Noah the way that they did before, and you'd want to see Noah going, actually, no, we're gonna kind of stand up for themselves. Doing the stuff with Hiromu for the junior title, absolutely fine, not really an issue for that. But like you'd think to yourself that really, if you're New Japan, it's just like we need to do something that will kickstart business. Noah could always do with something that's going to kickstart it, and if they could just for once just drop the fucking egos, accept the fact that both sides are going to have wins and losses, and some people are going to have to eat some pins, like on the New Japan side, because that was the horrible thing about Okada, Kaito, Kiyomiya, is the potential of it was so much better than what it ended up being. And
hopefully Tanahashi has a better attitude.
Yeah. Oh, Tanahashi. I'd be confident that Tanahashi.
Look back on that footage now. Somebody shared it on Twitter. I saw it. It's like, what a cunt Okada was being like. There's no story. There's no nothing. There's just he's being a cunt and he's leaving anyway. Like, would they killed him? Like, honestly,
won't be not missed on that front. Like, really isn't. And
missed in many other fronts, but not on that front.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they could kind of do with him being in the company and whatnot, but like, honestly. I look at this and I just think to myself as he's putting on the fan in this room, because it's getting absolutely boiling in here, and I forgot to put it on earlier on.
I was literally sweating before I was worried it was coming off on camera. It's very sweaty. I need to
fucking body weight here, but
can't open a window, mate. Stuff gets in. It's not worth the risk here.
All I ever want to see is a really good interpromotional feud. This is the problem doing that CZW Ring of Honor feud. You just want to see not the Japanese of that exactly, but a feud which is about like elevating both companies and accepting the fact that you need degrees of parity for this to work. They could do it. They both could use with a boost. Won't happen. Like that'd be the other thing. I'd be supremely confident. They'll balls it up. They'll get in their own way. New Japan will go, well, we're much bigger than you. And you just think, are you much bigger? You're certainly not as big compared to Noah as what they were before when they had all the Noah lads coming out of the Tokyo Dome. Muto taking fucking selfies.
Indeed. Well, speaking of Noah, some other notes here, JP, before we get out of it.
Yep, I did watch the final of the N1 Victory Tournament, which had, and I'm sure that this maybe wasn't the original plan, because it had Masa Kitamiya winning. He defeated Jack Morris in the final. Very much like, I watch him and I just think, like, he should just be in some...
Me too.
Oh, just being, Drew McIntyre's backup in WWE, because he's got the look. He's got that kind of like stoicism to him. He ticks all the boxes for the stuff they want. The match itself, like, if you've got a match where Yoshi Tatsu is getting bloody involved, then you've got a bit of an issue there. And Masa Kitamiya went over, so they actually had interference from like him and Tadasuke, and it was just fucking annoying. As much, not a bad match. Like I would again 3.5 stars, but like considering what we said about the G1, and we said, well, the N1's got this weird kind of like, because it's afterwards, it's like you could put your best foot forward here, and it just never seemed to catch fire. And I think the Izawa injury just sort of took a lot of heat out of it. So yeah, Masa Kitamiya's won. He's challenging Kenta at the big Sumo Hall show coming up on the 11th as well. And yeah, and Jack Morris, like I think there was a few people who predicted him to win. And I just look at him and like I say, he's got the look, he's got the kind of work style that WWE like. You could just have him doing effectively what JD McDonough does for Finn Balor, of this just like sort of mini me that knocks around and eats pins at various points. But yeah, that was what I thought about N1. And you know, it wasn't like people like Ricky Knight Jr. I know they had the tour, whether they're going to bring him back into the mix, but yeah, it's not like there wasn't a lot of buzz of his matches. I watched some of the matches at the
maybe win that Red Pro belt back. We will have him back.
I think he's just a shop window opportunity for that. But yeah, him coming back it'll be interesting to see him coming back in a Rev Pro there as well. But yeah, that's all right. So yeah, that was that's my N1 victory report. And then what
else we got going on?
Yeah, we've got Masha Slamovich has issued a statement. I mentioned this on the news dump. on here as well. There was allegations of abuse from a former partner, Akira. There as well. There was a Dropbox account which had loads of screenshots of a variety of text.
She doesn't come across well at all.
No, not at all,
to say the least.
And like, she issued one of these things on here saying, take responsibility. I'm sad about this. I'm going to reflect on this, and that's going to be her only statement on the matter as well. So I think it's just one of these things of just completely stonewalling any of the allegations.
Spoken like an innocent person.
Exactly. Where it is probably going to play out for her is, you would imagine she would have been quite a big part of this NXT invasion if that had been the case. She was due at Victory Road to take on Ash by Elegance, who ended up having to, for an undisclosed reason, give up the step away. So then I think it was Kalani Jordan who ended up winning it in a battle royal that they announced for the show. But Masha Slamovich,
very much a nothing show, Victory Road.
Oh God, I would say Leon Slater versus Myron Reed. It's interesting to have Leon Slater headlining the show. That was like something I thought, okay, that's an interesting kind of point there. And him and Myron Reed, because I have a soft spot for Myron Reed because of Injustice and MLW and all that. I thought that was a decent match. But that's the only one if you were going to watch anything from that show in there as well. But yeah, Masha Slamovich won't play any part in any of this NXT invasion stuff. And you would have thought that the way it was going to go, and given her high profile, it would have led to her signing a WWE deal. And this puts the kibosh on it, as it rightly should do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And yes, we have an announcement for WXW 16 Carat. They did have their what was it, Pro Wrestling Grand Prix that was on this weekend, and Chihiro Hashimoto is going to be in 16 karat gold. They also announced Yamato from Dragon Gate. He was the number 1. She was the number 2 announcement there. I can't pretend to say that I know necessarily loads about her.
I thought it would be up your street. I can tell you about Yamato from Dragon Gate days, but I can't really tell you much here about her. But this Hashimoto, anyway.
Yeah, about this. I'm much used to other Hashimotos as well that I got wrongly slandered.
Well, the Hashimotos are available, or wherever.
Yeah, well, not the one who got lost around by the old meat vending machine by the bowling alley and whatnot, because he was all over the fucking shop, and then they blamed me, and it's not me.
Apparently, Crystal and A is very excited. I've heard that.
He is, and like in many ways for WXW, you want to see them buying into that as well. And it's a thing actually I wanted to see. It was good to see the people we knew from the show. We obviously, Eddie Sideburns was out there as well, wasn't he? He was out there in Germany, like Kieran from Nothing Can Like It and Must See Matches. He was out there. Good friend Ian Hamilton, he was out there as well. And it was good to see. I want to see a strong WXW.
Jim Smallman was out there, all of that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, he's there to steal talent and be depressed.
Do you see the picture of him?
And they're all out of talent.
So nobody's in the crowd. Kilby took the photo, and he's just stood in the background. Small one, the 2 biggest power brokers in European wrestling, right there in one photo.
My God, just that bloke being out there as well.
Sophia saying there about Hashimoto, Miko's most famous protege, big awesome ass kicker style wrestler. Like I say, good seeing her being very much up your street, JP.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? I'm more than happy. I would love to be able to. I'd love to be able for us to review like a whole weekend of Carrot again, if I can't get myself across to the event, because I really miss it. I had an idea for a series where we talk about our favourite wrestling shows that we've attended where notable happenings have happened. And I was thinking about it. And I was thinking so much of that Carrot where Ilya Dragunov returns, and just the insane atmosphere for it. And I want to see a strong WXW. It's going to rely on hardcore indie wrestling fans going along to it. Yeah. So these kind of announcements are like manna from heaven for that. So I'm glad that is the case.
Yeah, I wanted to mention as well with the WXW weekend they're going on. Obviously, many friends of ours have referenced this week this week. Ian Dignam, obviously a friend of many of our friends, a face that you'd see in these crowds passing this week. I did see a few people passing on the condolences on Twitter and other places as well. And obviously, those the social parts of those weekends were always very much the big parts of the weekend for us. The big monster photo that you get at the end of the weekend, as you referenced there, that some of the lads and lasses who were out this weekend were still there for it as well. And obviously, Ian was a face in the crowd that you would often see, and obviously very sad story for many people out there as well to lose one of our own.
It is. Do you know? I wish I could have met him, because all I heard was about what a lovely guy that he is.
Yeah, James, he was saying in our group chat, what a cracking bloke he was.
That's it. He just seemed like he was an absolutely lovely lad, and anyone had interactions with him just had really lovely things to say. So I'm just like I'm really sad for him passing away at kind of at no age at all as well. So yeah.
Hearts with all of our friends out there that were missing Ian this weekend over at WXW as well, but definitely worth noting there, JP, as well. But yeah, before we get out of here, any other news to reference before we're done?
Well, there's one company willing to take the fight to WWE, whether it's in the courts and winning, but also in terms of the battle of properly taking pop shots, where AEW have been a bit more reserved, concentrating on themselves. Not MLW. Oh no. And so on Fury Road, they took a shot at WWE. Cesar Duran came out to address the crowd, and he said, "You love Major League Wrestling, and Major League Wrestling loves you. We have a legacy in the making tonight. And while some other company packed up their big show and shipped it to Saudi Arabia to take that blood money, we come here with the real deal right here in Texas as well."
Amazing.
And then the poor sods had to sit through Mads Kruger going to a no contest with Baron Corbin. So, I mean, which is probably what the Saudis would end up being dished up anyway. It'd just be worse in their case. But fair fucking play to them. No fear at all about that stuff. And I think this is just tying to the fact that there is this criticism about this Saudi WrestleMania that I've been happy to see kind of coming up, and like that level of anger, and it does make me think it's just like this corporate era of WWE. It's there to be fucking shot at. It's there to be absolutely slagged off, and MLW doing it, mate. Good old court.
I know. You say that like he wouldn't take the... I mean, he took the WWE legal fund, didn't he? And that's going to like fund him for the rest of his days. But, if they came call and were like, we need... the TNA relationship's not working out, court. We need you to step in. He'd be right fucking there. But he also knows that the stuff like this is going to get round, isn't it? So despite the people he books and some of the questionable things that happen on MLW, take the moral high ground when you can take it. I guess that was the court battle story this week.
Oh, yeah. Ignore their own failings as well, which ironically, after all of this, they're still shopping around another TV product. I've had those press releases come through and those stories being leaked as well. Yeah. No TV deal is yet to be announced, and it probably won't be. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone tries to block it this time round, because Court's got previous and he doesn't like losing in the courtroom. So, ironically, given his name, so fair play to him.
Well, there you go. Can't think of a better way to end there as well. But yeah, just to obviously see the comments there as well. Obviously, anybody who did know Ian Dignam is doing all right, and obviously we have a very, very small community of us out there. So always sad to see a story like that. So glad we got to reference that as well, JP. But anything else you wanted to mention before we do get out of here?
That is it. All I want to do. Some plugs. Dealer's Choice on Wednesday. If you subscribe to the Patreon, if you subscribe to the mid tier,
still adding matches
on there.
That playlist getting longer. I blame Platt.
It's getting incredibly long.
Sicko's is very, 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 very optional. The main playlist is still only, and I'm proud of myself, still only 2 hours 20. Like you can do the must watch in 2 hours 20, and you can hit all the high points. You can hit the debut. You can hit the Eddie Kingston match. You can hit Hangman. You can hit MJF. You can hit the Moxley stuff, and then you can kind of brush over Collision, and then we can get out of there. Or you can go the recommended route, and there's a few extra things in there. A lot lot of the promos are on the recommended route that obviously is the route that actually, I mean, I've learned my lesson now. If I want Matty to watch any of the recommended stuff and not just watch the much watch, put all the promos in recommended, because I believe he's been working his way through there. The Eddie Kingston promo. I can't believe I missed off the first draft of the list there, JP. I missed off the obviously the Hangman Page promo. You know, the apology should be as loud as the disrespect. I missed off on the original playlist, so I had to add that. So there's a few things like that on there as well. And yeah, if you want to go full sickos like Platt, there are a lot of Dynamite matches. Your Justin Rhodes match. I did add the singles match where they with Dax Harwood. Too much FTR for me on the playlist now, but there are some little hidden gems in there. But it's, as always, these shows are, JP. It's choose your own adventure. It can be as long or short as you like, but we're going to cover the entire career in AEW of our one Bill Phil, and can't wait to shepherd you all through it.
Incredible stuff for this, and I'll be judicious. I will not be doing the Sickos playlist for this, but I have started.
I probably won't.
On the
Sickos is just for Platt. It might as well have Platt's name on it and a little asterisk that says and Gareth, because I reckon Gareth's going to try his best too. But
he will. Do, but it's great stuff, and my God, the talking points for that. So that's tremendous. Listen to Bretro. That's also out, and that was out on Sunday there as well. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Looking forward to it.
Plenty coming where that came from, and then like I say, October gonna be a little all over the place, but at the minute we're working on 5 bonus shows for October, not just 4, to make up for the fact that 1 or 2 may not be live with me. I say on holiday, I'm permanent on holiday on JP, but you know what I mean. I'll be in Tokyo. It'll be like an additional. Never mind the clock's changing here, which is gonna make my life even harder as far as hard and horrendous my life is. An extra hour's time difference. The added 4 hours, I think it is in Tokyo, makes recording very, very difficult. But we've got plenty planned. Matty's been doing the Lord's work behind the scenes to pull a schedule together, and it's busier than a normal month, October, which is typical us, isn't it? We can't help ourselves, but obviously that is coming up as well. So look forward to the big reveal of that, and I believe it's now Carl's King of the Mountain we're doing in October as well. So who knows what Carl's going to be putting our paces through? So
I have faith in old Carl and the stuff he's going to do.
I don't.
Kettering's finest, even though he's not actually from there, he just lives there as well. I'm not going to give out his full address or anything. That would be a bit mental. But yeah, some brilliant stuff in there. Looking forward to that. And you're having a lovely, well-earned break, I feel, like going around Japan, enjoying Japan properly as you should do.
There you go. But yeah, we'll be back. And as Andy said, if you start the Sickos now on the Punk playlist, you'll be there by Wednesday. So look forward to it as well. Platt saying you don't want to know the length of that he's watched. Yeah, he's the real GRAPPL sicko out there as well. Simon saying he doesn't want to hear Cult of Personality again. Would not go that far, but yeah. Jesus Christ. But yeah, plenty coming up despite my absence for a couple of weeks. But yeah, look forward to it, folks. Look forward to everything we've got going on. Thank you, as always, to our patrons for supporting us through this other month. Thank you to our live patrons who join us here for our live spotlights, our live weekend shows, and our live bonus shows, which we'll have on Wednesday night. And of course, thank you to our Patreon kings and queens of the mountain, Conor Laughlin, Eddie Sideburns, Chris Platt, Carl Gack, Sophia Hitchcock, Sam Mulvaney gets one more thanks, and also Marty Ellis, who's a King of the Mountain show, will be coming up sooner rather than later. But yeah, on that note, JP, anything else to say?
All I've got to say is bye.
We'll catch you on the next one. Good night, all.
Good night.